journey begin, Pokemon.
Welcome to the Unova region, a region where people and Pokemon work together as friends and companions. We now pick up with our one and only protagonist, Ash Ketchum, who was on a plane ride with Professor Oak on their way to the Unova region. After getting the okay from his mom, Ash went along with Oak to the Unova region and is super excited to start a new adventure. When the plane lands, the two are greeted by the Unova region's head researcher, Professor Juniper, who welcomes Ash to the Unova region. Ash requests if he could look around for a few minutes, and the professors let him. As Ash explores the area around the airport, he gets to see a bunch of brand new Unovan Pokemon. However, everything changes when a thunderstorm suddenly starts seemingly out of nowhere. Ash and Pikachu try to get back to the professors, but they are then surrounded by pillars of lightning. Before Ash can do anything else, a weird-looking rock then floats down to Ash, and he grabs hold of it. As soon as he does, the storm seems to have stopped completely. Ash then makes sure Pikachu is okay before doing anything else, and decides to think about the stone later, so he places it in his backpack. He then returns to the professors, they get in Juniper's car, and head towards New Vema Town. We then switch to New Vema Town, where a young girl is running down the streets as she approaches Professor Juniper's lab, where a certain young man is waiting outside the door. This is none other than Trip, a young man inspired by the Unova champion Alder. Since he was a little boy, he had researched Pokemon extensively to the point where people predict his skill would be equal to that of an experienced trainer. He is also one of Ash's main rivals for this rewrite. But getting back to the story, Hilda and Trip converse for a bit when Professor Juniper alongside Oak and Ash arrive at the lab. Ash then introduces himself to the two new trainers, and Hilda is excited to meet Ash and tells him she and Trip are about to start their journeys, and Trip, while not acting like a jerk like he does in the original, still acts in a pretty cold manner towards Ash. Ash then states how he's excited for them, and they walk inside the lab. This is where Ash is introduced to the Unova starters, who Trip describes to Ash using his advanced knowledge. Hilda chooses a female Tepig as her partner in Pokemon, and Trip obviously chooses his iconic level 5 Snivy. Oshawott, realizing no one picked him, is honestly quite sad, and so Ash comforts the little guy, foreshadowing his capture later on in the series. Trip then asks Professor Oak about Ash, and Oak tells Trip that he's been traveling for a very long time and has caught a lot of different Pokemon. Naturally, Trip challenges Ash to a Pokemon battle to test his skills and abilities as a Pokemon trainer. Ash, obviously being Ash, gladly accepts the challenge. The two professors and Hilda watch Ash and Pikachu go up against Trip and his new Snivy. Although Ash has the experience, Trip is no pushover for a rookie trainer. He may not have the abilities to take Ash down now, but his extensive research on Pokemon will surely make him a powerful trainer later on. But since this was the first battle he'd ever been in, his research just wouldn't be enough to take down Ash's Pikachu, who has had years of experience and has traveled throughout 4 different regions. So in the end, Ash ends up winning the battle. Trip, now with a newfound respect for Ash, leaves the lab, starting his Pokemon journey. Ash then learns that the first gym is in Striaton City and has plans to go there for his first gym battle. A few hours later, Ash is about to head out, but Hilda walks up to him before he can take off, asking him if she can come along with him and learn from him. Ash gladly accepts her request, and the two say goodbye to the two professors as they set out for new adventures. So we continue exactly where we left off. After arriving in Unova, receiving a mysterious stone, and defeating his new rival Trip and his Snivy, Ash, along with his new companion Hilda, head for Striaton City, where Ash plans to get his first Unova gym badge. So until we get there, I have multiple events to cover, starting off with this one. On the way to Accumula Town, Ash and Hilda tell each other their goals. Ash obviously wants to enter the Unova League, and Hilda wants to make her team of acting Pokemon. So after teaching Hilda how to catch a Pokemon, Hilda ends up catching a Deerling, and Ash catches a Pidove. After this, our duo arrives in Accumula Town, where a major encounter awaits them. They then enter the city to see some kind of protest going on, and they decide to check it out. They then head over to the crowd, who is surrounded by a man named Getsis, who states he is a representative of Team Plasma and has come to speak to the town about Pokemon liberation.
I know you all consider Pokemon to be your friends, companions, and partners. But that is false. Pokemon are oppressed by people. It is cruel to confine a being of nature to a human mechanism. It is cruel for a being of nature to be forced into a battle against another one of its kind. I ask you, the fair people of Accumula Town, if you have any heart, you will release your Pokemon. Allow them to be free from the chains of humanity. That is all I have to say. I wish you all the best.
Getsis then leaves after saying his speech, and obviously, Ash is enraged by this speech, but is stopped by Hilda before he can go after Team Plasma. After Team Plasma leaves, people actually start releasing their Pokemon. Pokemon they've been friends with for years, maybe even decades. This sends Ash into a state of enragement, confusion, and frustration. Why would anyone listen to Team Plasma? Pokemon are our lifelong friends. To release them now after bonding with a human is just cruel. That is what Ash is thinking. But before he can act irrationally, he is then approached by a young man with long green hair. The man then introduces himself as N and states he agrees with Team Plasma's viewpoints. Him and Ash then argue over their beliefs for a bit until N decides he wants to hear the voice of Ash's Pokemon, obviously referring to Pikachu. However, he is shocked when he hears Pikachu's voice, disturbed even. He then challenges Ash to a battle so we can hear Pikachu's voice once again. He then calls upon a Purrloin from nearby and the two engage in a short battle. Once again, Pikachu is easily able to overpower the Purrloin, and after seeing the Pokemon hurt, N retreats from the battle, telling Ash they will meet once again so he can truly understand him and that he may be the one. This is our group's first encounter with Team Plasma, the original one, who in this version of the anime play a very important and critical role in the story. But that's all we got from Team Plasma for now. Our duo then continues on to Drayden City. On the way there are a few more events that do occur. One event is when Ash and Hilda encounter the Oshawott from Professor Juniper's lab. Oshawott tells Ash he wants to go with him, but before they can do anything else, they are attacked by a gang of Sandile, with the leader having a pair of sunglasses. We then learn from a young boy that they have taken control of a nearby hotel that the boy's father owns, and so Ash and Hilda then go into the hotel and chase the Sandile out with the combined power of all of their Pokemon. Ash then calls Professor Juniper to get the okay to have Oshawott join his team, and now Oshawott is officially part of the team. The leader of the group, the Sandile with glasses, is then inspired by Pikachu's strength, and he evolved into a Krokorok who will later return in the series later on. We then have Ash and Hilda encountering a director and his crew filming on Route 2 after hearing the director's screams from a mile away. They are filming a brand new commercial for the hit ice cream brand, Castelia Cone, and they just so happen to be missing their star. The original star was none other than coincidentally a female Tepig, and the owner of the Pokemon walked out on the crew after calling the director, quote-unquote, too scary. So Hilda, with her gold, tells the director she can help out, and Tepig gets her first shoot and does really, really well. I wish I could say the same about Ash and Pikachu and the lighting team, but then I would just be lying. The director then tells Hilda that her Tepig is a natural and he hopes that he can work with her in the future. Hilda is ecstatic, as this is the first step towards her goal becoming reality. Ash, finally fed up with the day of holding lights, insists they keep heading to Drayden City, and the duo say farewell to the film crew. Our next event is actually the first time Ash and Co. run into Team Rocket. You see, on round 2, Ash and Hilda encounter a trainer by the name of Ian, who is chasing an altered coloration Lillipup. He then tells the two of them that his goal is to complete the entire Unova Dex with shiny Pokemon, and so Ash and Hilda then decide to help him out, not knowing that Team Rocket are watching in the background. After an entire day of failure, Ian finally ends up catching the shiny Lillipup, only for Team Rocket to snatch it up. The normal events then occur. Team Rocket are using their Pokemon from Sinnoh here, but we'll get new mons later on. One blast off later and the day is saved. Now, I want to make something clear here. This will be the only time I'm ever going to reference Team Rocket in this rewrite outside of important story moments. While Team Rocket will continue to be a pain in the ass for Ash and his friends, talking about every time they show up would just be boring and would take a lot of unnecessary time to talk about. So Team Rocket is here, I just won't be talking about every single time they show up. However, the beginning portion of this rewrite focuses on a Team Rocket-centric plot, so get excited for that. The two then say goodbye to Ian as they head for Drayden City once again. Now, we finally reach Drayden City, and Ash is rushing to try and find the gym. Hilda is also helping out, but they can't seem to find the gym anywhere. But then a young man with green hair approaches them to see if it really was a Pikachu on Ash's shoulder, since Pikachu is quite a rare Pokemon in the Unova region. After admiring Pikachu, he then introduces himself as Silent, a Pokemon connoisseur. He then explains what Pokemon connoisseurs are and how they participate in the Pokemon of Valuathons. Ash then asks Silent if he knows where the gym is, and as we all know, Silent does indeed know where the gym is and leads Ash to the Drayden City gym. Now, things play out as they do here in the original. Ash is introduced to Silent, Chili, and Cress, and Ash has to choose which one he wants to battle. Ash being Ash states he wants to battle all three of them, and this is where I decided to change some things up. Chili then states that if Ash wants to battle all three of them, why not have a triple battle? I did this so Ash can learn a new way of battling from the Unova region, and it would also show the audience the new mechanic as well to support and promote Pokemon Black and White. I didn't implement rotation battles since the two are very similar, so now we have Ash's Pikachu, Pidove, and Oshawott versus Chili's Pansear, Cress's Panpour, and Silent's Pansage. And now, the first gym battle officially begins! So I won't be giving you guys all the details here since that would just take far too long, but essentially this battle will be a challenge for Ash. He's using Pokemon he just caught. They've had no time to work together as a team, and on the other hand, the brothers have perfect teamwork. So how does this battle go? Well, Pidove will be the first one to get knocked out from one of Pansear's attacks. However, it was able to get in some damage before it fainted. The next Pokemon to get out is Panpour, and this one is fairly obvious as to why. Ash is using a Pikachu that is essentially on steroids, so it makes quick work of Panpour. The next Pokemon to go down is Pansear, who was taken out by Oshawott, but it's not as simple as you may think. During the time Oshawott was attacking Pansear, Pansage was powering up its Solar Beam, so Oshawott is then immediately taken out by the Solar Beam. This leaves only two Pokemon left, Silent's Pansage and Ash's Pikachu. Pikachu tries to knock Pansage out using its speed, but Pansage knows the gym field better than anyone, so it's not easy for Pikachu to find him. However, after a long, hard-fought battle, Pikachu is able to get the win against Silent and his Pansage. Now, Pikachu won't be getting too many big wins in this Unova, since I obviously want to showcase Ash's new Pokemon as well, but I felt like here Pikachu needed to show just how strong he was. Due to his victory, Ash is given the Trio Badge and heads off to the Pokemon Center to heal his Pokemon, now with his sights set on Nacrene City for the next Unova Gym Badge. Now, you all know what happens next. After his Pokemon are healed, he stumbles upon Silent once more, saying he wants to talk to Ash. Silent states how he wants to learn from Ash, believing he can help him become a better trainer and connoisseur, so we ask Ash if he can tag along, and Ash obviously says yes. Now our trio for this rewritten Unova has finally come together. Now, we have a few events to discuss after the first gym badge. We are still in Drayden City, and the first event is the Dream Yard incident. Professor Juniper states that Ash and Co. should check out Professor Fennel's research while they are in Drayden City, and after learning about Fennel's research on dreams, dream energy readings skyrocket, and Fennel states something must be going down at the Dream Yard. If you guys have played the Black and White 1 games, then you would know that when the group goes there, they head to the Dream Yard, and they see a Munna getting beat by Team Plasma, who plan to use the Munna's Dream Mist to cause people to have dreams that will make them want to release their Pokemon. After defeating them, the Musharna, who resides in the Dream Yard, uses the illusion from the games. I'm obviously referring to the one where Getsis multiplies himself and he says he's going to punish them and whatnot. And this obviously causes the Grunts to get scared and causes them to retreat. And after this event, the police become more suspicious of Team Plasma's activities. The second event is when Hilda wants a cross transceiver, and the new model is coming out, and she really wants one. Again, if you guys don't remember what a cross transceiver is, it is the communications device from the Unova region. When she gets to the store, there is only one left in stock. However, before she can purchase it, another trainer enters the building, also wanting a cross transceiver, and this is none other than Hilda's childhood friend, Cheren. Hilda's childhood friend and main rival for the series. Cheren is a director and wants to enter the Directors Festival in Burbank City. He is very full of himself, but is also very supportive of his friends. Since both of them want the device, they decide to battle for it, with Cheren using his partner Duat and Hilda using her Tepig. This is Hilda's first official battle in the series. Hilda goes in for the offensive, but Duwant is just a lot more experienced and a lot more agile. Since this is also Tepeg's first official battle against another trainer, with the obvious exception of Team Rocket, Cheren and Duwant are easily able to overpower her and Tepeg, and sadly it ends in defeat for Tepeg due to her lack of experience when it comes to Pokemon battles. Cheren ends up with the Cross Transceiver, but this gets Hilda even more determined to one day defeat Cheren, setting up their rivalry for the rest of the series. And finally, we have one last event, where Team Rocket meets up with a new Rocket agent by the name of Pierce to discuss Team Rocket's Operation Sun, which will come into fruition later on in the series. Now, the group is finally on their way to Nacrene City, and on their way there, we have a lot of events to cover. The first being another interaction with Team Plasma at a Pokemon daycare where the three decide to help out at. After this event, Hilda is given a Pokemon egg by the one who runs the daycare. So now Hilda has a Pokemon egg in her possession, and it will later on become a Pokemon that will join her team. Next up, our group is on the way to Nacrene when they encounter a Pokemon trainer who Hilda definitely recognizes. This trainer is none other than Hilbert, Hilda's older brother who left on his journey half a year before Hilda. Similar to Ash, his goal is also to win the Unova League. He then shows the group that he already has 6 badges, and this gets Ash super stoked to battle him. Ash challenges Hilbert and his partner Pignite to a battle. However, before he can send out a Pokemon, Oshawott comes out of his Pokeball all by his own, wanting to battle Hilbert's Pignite. The battle is now on. Oshawott tries to hold his own against Pignite, using its type advantage as its main advantage in this battle. However, Hilbert's battling style is very aggressive, and Pignite counters the type matchup with brute force and aggression. Ashton tries to counter using even more offense, but Pignite is just too strong and powerful and ends up overpowering Oshawott, which leads to Oshawott losing the battle. Oshawott, after losing, now has a main rival for the series and a goal now to best Pignite in a battle one day. Hilbert then decides to camp out with the group for the night, and this leads to another interaction between him and Ash during the night while everyone else is asleep, where Ash learns Hilbert's motivation for being a Pokemon trainer. Hilbert explains to Ash that before he left on his journey, he really wasn't proud of himself. He felt like he did nothing during his childhood and that his life really wasn't going anywhere. He then states how he left on a journey to become someone not only his family and friends could be proud of, but someone he could be proud of, someone that he wanted to be, and someone that he just really wanted to admire. He wanted to become that person. Ashton declares that one day they will meet at the Unova League and that he will beat him. Hilbert laughs and accepts Ash's challenge, and the next day Hilbert is gone before the group even wakes up. But now Ash has one more rival in the Unova region. Now, we have a couple of captures for our main group to cover. Ash, after outsmarting a sassy Snivy, ends up catching it and adding it to his team, so now Ash has Pidove, Oshawott, Pikachu, and now Snivy, very similar to the original canon. This capture happens pretty much the same way as the original, and Silent also catches his Dwebble in the same way as the original anime as well. So now Silent has Pansage, and he has his Dwebble, once again very similar to the official canon. Now we get to the first Pokemon Evaluathon. In case you guys have forgotten what a Pokemon Evaluathon is, I will briefly go over the Evaluathons once again. The Pokemon Evaluathons are a series of competitions that happen throughout Unova. Pokemon connoisseurs compete in several different challenges throughout the Unova region to evaluate the bond between a trainer and their Pokemon. Depending on your place in the competition, it will award you with a certain amount of points, and the 5 connoisseurs with the most points at the end of the season compete in the Master Evaluation, a harder version of an Evaluathon with 3 different challenges. The winner of that competition is then declared an S-Class Connoisseur, and Silent enters his first one on his way to Nacrene, along with Ash and Hilda. But before he can enter, he comes across Burgundy, Silent's main rival, who decides to become a Pokemon connoisseur after losing to Silent in a gym battle. She wants to outshine Silent and get her revenge against him. Anyway, now on to the first Evaluathon. The challenge this time around was to evaluate the bond between a normal person and their Pokemon on a stage. So people in Pokemon would perform different tasks together, showcasing their bond, and the connoisseurs would have to evaluate that bond, and the person who had the best evaluation would be awarded the most amount of points, obviously winning that Evaluathon. After an entire day of analyzing the different people and Pokemon, Silent comes out on top with the number 1 spot, with Burgundy almost winning in second place. Burgundy, enraged by her loss, challenges Silent to a battle with her new partner for this rewrite, Sawsbuck. Silent, similar to the original, is able to overcome Burgundy and her Pokemon in battle. Silent then tells her that instead of getting mad over her loss, she needs to learn from it, and that before she can become a better connoisseur, she needs to learn how to do that first. She needs to learn how to accept a loss. Burgundy, while mad, is now more determined than ever to beat Silent. After this, our group finally arrives in Nakarine City, and the group heads to the Pokemon Center to rest. This is where they once again run into Ash's rival Trip. Trip then asks Ash for a battle, and this battle goes a lot different than their first battle in the series. Ash starts off the battle with Pidove, and it goes up against Trip's Tranquil. Unlike last time when Ash was using Pikachu, Ash is now using a Pokemon who has had not as much experience as Ash's Pikachu, and is on the same level of experience as Trip's Tranquil. It then becomes an aerial battle of power, and Tranquil overpowers Pidove. Ash then sends in Snivy. He uses Attract to confuse Tranquil, and then uses Attack to take down Trips. Trip then sends out his ace, Servine, and proves just how much stronger he has become. Every attack that Ash sends at Servine, Trip is able to find a counter for. He truly shows just how much he knows about Pokemon battles here, and Trip is then able to take out Ash's Snivy. Trip has fully proven to Ash that, at least this time around, his analytical battling style has overpowered Ash's years of experience. Trip then shakes Ash's hand, thanking him for the battle, declaring that he has officially surpassed him. Ash, being Ash, would not let this slide, and he states that he will defeat Trip next time they have a battle. Ash decides he wants to go heal up his Pokemon after the battle against Trip when he hears a clapping noise as N walks into the arena, asking Ash if he could talk while he gets his Pokemon healed. This leads to, once again, another mental conflict between Ash and N. N then tells Ash he is conflicted, and he doesn't know if the truth he has found is the correct one. He tells Ash that he's somewhat of an enigma to him, and thought it'd be best to ask Ash for some advice. He then once again explains his mentality, sending Ash once again into a rage, telling N that he doesn't understand him and that Pokemon and humans love each other, and although they may not be together in the past, N can't just force people in Pokemon to be separated from each other now when they finally come together. N then laughs evilly. He apologizes for the outburst and says he has finally found his answer. That in order to truly separate Pokemon and people, he needs power to enforce his truth. He needs a strong ally. He needs Reshiram. Ash, confused, asks what Reshiram is, and Silent explains the history of the Unova region. How once a long time ago, 2 princes once controlled 2 mighty dragons, Reshiram and Zekrom, and how their battle ended with the 2 dragons being sealed away in 2 different stones. N then says farewell to the trio as he leaves with a satisfied look on his face. And as soon as he leaves, Ash breaks down into tears, refusing to accept N's views and how it goes against all of his ideals. Before we move forward, I just want to quickly recap everyone's teams in case you guys have forgotten, and so you guys can just remember. Ash's team is Pikachu, Oshawott, Snivy, and Pidove. Hilda's team is Tepig, Deerling, and a Pokemon Egg, and Silent's team is Pansage and Dwebble. Hopefully that helps you guys if you guys have forgotten what their teams are, and now let's move on to the actual part itself. So last time, Ash had his second encounter with N, who now has the objective of finding and reviving Reshiram so we can show all of Unova the truth he has found. But Ash doesn't have time to worry about that right now, because now it's time for his second Unova gym badge, this time against the normal type expert, Lenora, aka my childhood demon. Ash and the gang look around the Nacrene Museum just for a tiny bit before heading to Lenora's study to access the battlefield. Now, Ash decides to enter this gym battle with two Pokemon, that being Pikachu and Oshawott. Pikachu is easily able to take down Lenora's Herdier, but not without taking damage. Now, Lenora's second Pokemon is my childhood demon. Not my childhood demon, Watchog. She sends out Watchog. While Pikachu is stronger than Watchog, Ash was not expecting her Pokemon to know Hypnosis, and after Pikachu is put to sleep, he's taken out by Lenora's Watchog, who knocks him out with Retaliate. Now it's up to Oshawott to win the battle for Ash. Lenora decides to switch to the offensive, and Watchog attacks Oshawott, weakening it. Oshawott is also doing decent damage to Watchog as well. Lenora then decides she's had enough and tells Watchog to use Hypnosis. Ash then tells Oshawott to dodge it, and then miraculously, Oshawott uses a brand new move, that being its Aqua Jet. However, he ends up hitting the wall. The group then realizes his eyes were closed during the attack, and this gives Ash the advantage in this battle. Ash then tells Oshawott to use Aqua Jet more and more, and this causes Watchog to get dizzy, making it unable to use Hypnosis. One Razor Shell later, and Oshawott has won the battle for Ash, earning him his second gym badge, the Basic Badge. Lenora tells Ash the closest gym from here is in Castelia City, and the group makes plans to head there next, but we're not done with Nacrene just yet. Silent states that when he was a kid, he and his brothers would eat at a diner in the city, and asks if they can grab a bite to eat before they leave. The trio then decide to head over and grab a bite to eat. However, when they enter the diner, they see a bunch of filming equipment, and Ash and Hilda reunite with the director from Route 2. He is filming a commercial for the diner. Once again, he is also in quite the tight spot due to his aggressive personality. So we asked Hilda if he could borrow her Tepig for the shoot. However, things still don't go as planned. Hilda's Tepig showcasing the diner's food just isn't working for the director. It's not wowing him, it's not giving him that spark he wants. Hilda then comes up with an idea. She states that the commercial might be more beneficial if it showcases multiple trainers and Pokemon enjoying the food at the diner. This works perfectly, and the director loves it as he compliments Hilda, saying that she would make a great director someday if she wanted to pursue that goal. He also tells her that she may get some ideas for her Pokemon if she checks out the Pokemon musical in Nimbasa City, and Hilda says she will. The trio head out after a fun day at the restaurant when Ash runs into someone who is none other than Looker. Ash is surprised to see Looker here and asks what he's doing, but before he can respond, Hilda and Silent ask who Looker is. Ash then explains who Looker is and how he was an international police member from the Sinnoh region, and he asks Looker the question again. Looker states he is here investigating Team Rocket's activities in the Unova region, and they have plans to do something big. He heard that there were sightings of suspicious people in the Pinwheel Forest, and he came here to investigate. The gang then decides to help him out. In the Pinwheel Forest, they discover multiple Pokemon in cages as they find Jesse, James, Meowth, and Pierce, locking all of them up. They then eavesdrop and learn two things. 1. The name of Operation Sun, and 2. That it will apparently unleash the forgotten power of Volcarona upon the Unova region. After receiving this information, they decide to confront Team Rocket, who retreat after a quick battle. The group then frees all the locked up Pokemon, and Looker thanks them for their assistance and help, and he says he'll keep investigating this Operation Sun. The gang then say goodbye to Looker as they continue on for Castelia City. Now, the only big thing that happens the rest of the way to Castelia is the gang runs into another one of Hilda's childhood friends, Bianca, a childhood friend of Hilda and Hilbert, who is training to become Professor Juniper's assistant. The group then learns that she is out here looking for a Minccino, who researched that they were in this area. The group then helps her catch the Minccino, which isn't the easiest thing to do because Bianca doesn't have the best luck, but Bianca catches the Minccino in the end. The group then says farewell to her as they head for the biggest city in Unova, Castelia City. Now, a lot happens in Castelia, both now and later on in the series. since it will be the location of the Unova League for this rewrite. But the group finally reaches the huge city, where they actually once again run into Bianca, who is with her friend Iris, a traveling Pokemon trainer who specializes in Dragon-type Pokemon. She is a successor to the Opelucid City Gym and is on a journey to become strong so she can one day surpass the gym leader Drayden in Opelucid City. After learning she uses dragon types, Ash challenges her to a battle. Bianca says that she'll go shopping while that happens, and a battle between the two begins, with Iris using her partner Fracture, and Ash of course using Pikachu. However, the battle is cut short when Bianca returns in a panic. She states that these weird knight-looking people took her Muna, and the gang automatically realizes that it's Team Plasma. The trio, along with Bianca and Iris, search the city for Team Plasma, and they then finally find them and chase them into a building where they encounter the 7 stages of Team Plasma, and more importantly, Getsis. Getsis recognizes Ash as the boy he has heard about, and he then explains the origins of the Unova region, and that Team Plasma will bring back the hero and the legendary dragon to win over people's minds and create the world that Team Plasma desires. Ash then gets frustrated and says to give back Bianca's Muna. Getsis complies and gives Bianca her Pokemon back, and then he takes his leave along with the other stages. The day is now over, and Bianca and Iris say they have their own journeys to get back to, so the group say goodbye to the two of them. However, unknown to them, a Team Rocket helicopter is flying over the city, and inside is none other than Giovanni, who is ready to unleash the secrets of the Relic Castle upon the entire Unova region. Now, before we get to the Team Rocket Operation Sun arc, we first have Ash's gym battle against Unova's 3rd gym leader, Berg, who is a master of the arts and bug-type Pokemon. In this battle, Ash will use his Oshawott, Snivy, and Pidove, while Berg will use his Whirlipede, Dwebble, and Leavanny. The first matchup is Oshawott versus Whirlipede. Sadly, Oshawott's great performance in the last gym comes to an end here, as both him and Whirlipede take down each other at the same time, making it a draw. The next match is between Snivy and Dwebble, and Snivy with its type advantage and attack is able to take down Dwebble, but then Leavanny comes out and makes quick work of Snivy. Ash is now down to only his Pidove. While Leavanny is slightly hurt, it's still standing strong. Leavanny almost takes Pidove out, but at the last second, Pidove forms a blue aura around it and evolves into Tranquil. Using its new evolution, Tranquil is successfully able to take out Berg's Leavanny, earning Ash his 3rd gym badge. Berg congratulates Ash and tells him the closest gym from here is in Nimbasa City. This also gets Hilda excited because the Pokemon musical is also there. But before they can move on, crisis awaits. Now, everyone, welcome to what I am calling the Operation Sun arc. And this is my equivalent to the cancelled Team Rocket vs. Team Plasma arc. Now, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's begin this arc right here, right now. The group is on their way out of Castelia when a massive earthquake occurs in Castelia. The group wonders what is going on when they are approached by none other than Professor Juniper and Looker. Looker explains this is what Team Rocket was planning all along, and that he ran into Professor Juniper on the way here, who states she's here because she got massive energy readings detected from the Relic Castle a couple of hours ago, and rushed here as fast as she could. The gang then immediately hops in a car as they head for the Relic Castle, which is now risen to the surface in its full glory. When they get there, they see a bunch of Team Rocket grunts, but they are able to take care of them pretty easily. Inside the Relic Castle, the group from Pinwheel Forest, including Giovanni, are discovering the secrets of the Relic Castle. Giovanni then explains that this castle is the remnant of an ancient Unova civilization, and that it is stated that a powerful Pokemon that this civilization worshipped as a second sun resides inside the castle. This is of course referring to Volcarona. They then stumble upon an ancient door and then open it, to reveal none other than a sleeping Volcarona who awakens in anger at its disturbance. The Pokemon unleashes a giant beam of energy that shakes the entire castle. Giovanni then laughs in excitement as he tells Pierce to get the control device. Pierce then throws a device that attaches itself to Volcarona. The control device absorbs all of Volcarona's energy into one object that Team Rocket can use at any given time to cause mass destruction. This in turn changes the color of Volcarona to a dark color, and Volcarona then stops attacking Team Rocket, now under their complete control. Giovanni laughs maniacally as Ash and the others finally reach Team Rocket. Giovanni states that they are too late, but Ash has not given up. Ash tries to attack the group, but Pikachu is easily overpowered by the controlled Volcarona, and Team Rocket retreats. When Giovanni gets outside the Relic Castle, he orders his forces to head towards Castilia, and that Team Rocket's invasion of the Unova region has begun, with Volcarona lighting up the sky as a second sun. The group, upset at their failure, agree they need to head back to Castilia as fast as they can. Looker states that he already sent out a distress code to the International Police Force and that they should be here sooner than later, but until then they are completely on their own. Ash and the others then head back to Castilia, which is now being completely taken over by Team Rocket. Volcarona has been given its energy back, and due to the control device, it basically works as a power amplifier. It stole Volcarona's power and then enforced it. It made it stronger so that when it would be released, Volcarona became pretty much supercharged, and I'm calling this form of Volcarona Supernova Volcarona. It's a very cringy name, I know, but I'm trying to explain it the best way possible. Basically, Volcarona is now on steroids and is terrorizing the city. However, the group is surprised to see that the people fighting Team Rocket are none other than Team Plasma, who state that Team Rocket stands against everything they stand for, so they want to fight. Along with Team Plasma and Berg, the group unleashes an all-out attack on Team Rocket to save Castilia City and the Unova region. The battle is a hard and long one, but eventually Looker and Ash are able to approach Giovanni and the supercharged Volcarona. Giovanni and Ash are finally face to face, but they have no time to talk. A battle between the two commences, with Ash using Pikachu and Giovanni using Volcarona. Pikachu is clearly at a disadvantage and is losing pretty bad, but Ash won't give up. He has his ideals and he will stand behind them forever, and they will help him win no matter what. Ash's backpack then starts to glow blue as a storm then surrounds the city. Pikachu's sparks then turn from a yellow to a blue, and then he erupts into a thunderbolt, creating the silhouette of a mysterious dragon Pokemon. When the thunderbolt is over, Pikachu has now come out with a new form. Giovanni, scared by this new power, tells Volcarona to attack, but it's to no avail. Whatever Pikachu is amplified by makes Pikachu extremely powerful, amplifying the power of his electric-type moves. Pikachu is then able to break the control device, freeing Volcarona, and then the International Police arrive on the scene. Giovanni then issues a retreat for Team Rocket, and all of Team Rocket, with the exceptions of the main trio and Dr. Sager, who will later on become more important, then retreat. The main trio state they want to go after Pikachu, who is now more powerful than ever. The storm then disappears and Pikachu falls unconscious. Ash then wonders what happened to Pikachu, why the stone glowed, and what Pokemon the Thunderbolt resembled. But those are questions for another time. This concludes the Operation Sun arc and the conclusion to part 1 of this story. So before our trio heads to Nimbasa, something happens in Castilia. Castilia has now been rebuilt, and the trio is ready to head out when Hilda's Pokemon egg she got from the girl at the daycare starts to glow. A Petalil hatches from the egg, and Hilda spends the entire day trying to obtain the Pokemon's trust. Hilda then catches the baby Petalil and now has another brand new Pokemon on her team. After this, we then skip to a scene inside the Pokemon Center. Ash is talking with Professor Juniper about the mysterious power Pikachu used. Ash then states he saw Pikachu's lightning take the form of some kind of dragon Pokemon, and Juniper responds telling Ash she has no idea what kind of power this is, that this is something he will have to figure out on his own, but she then states that if he saw a dragon, it might be related to the legendary Pokemon of the Unova region. She then tells Ash if anyone knows about this power, it would definitely be her father, and that they ever meet him, they should definitely bring this up to him. After this, the trio then say their goodbyes to Castelia and set their sights on Nimbasa City. Our heroes are now back in the desert area of Route 4, where a couple events occur. The first event is when the trio runs into a Darumaka who steals a bunch of their equipment. The trio then goes searching for the Pokemon, and Ash stumbles upon it in a tiny cave. He tries to get the stuff back, but Darumaka is violent and won't let it near the stuff. He wonders why it's so distrustful of humans, so he asks Pikachu to try to get near it, but it's given the same exact treatment as Ash. It's very violent, not very trustful of him either. Ash then realizes that the Darumaka was abandoned by its parents, and it stole their stuff just so it could survive. Ash then does everything he can to earn Darumaka's trust, and it works. When Hilda and Silent show up, the two are close friends, and Ash invites Darumaka to join his team, and he accepts. So this will be the only non-canon Mon Ash will catch in this rewrite. I made Ash capture Darumaka for two reasons. Reason one is because I wanted Ash to have a fire type, but since the two siblings were already going to have the Tepig line, I just didn't think it really worked if I gave a third person the Tepig line, so I wanted to give him a different fire type, so the three different characters didn't have Tepig. It would be way too many people having Tepig. Reason 2 is that Darmanitan is my favorite Unova fire type, so of course it would be my first choice when giving Ash a brand new Pokemon, especially a fire type. But now Ash's team consists of Pikachu, Oshawott, Tranquil, Snivy, and of course, Darumaka. The next event that occurs is when the group stumbles upon none other than Cedric Juniper. He then asks the trio if they want to accompany him on an adventure relating to some ancient ruins in the desert area. They then accompany him on the adventure to find these ancient ruins. During this time, Ash asks Cedric about the power that Pikachu used in Castelia, and Cedric then asks Ash if he has something weird with him. He then pulls out the rock from part 1, which of course was given to Ash in the thunderstorm. Cedric states that he has no idea what it is, but it may be the cause of Pikachu's power-up. Besides that, he really has no clue about the power. The group then stumbles upon the ancient ruins after a long adventure, and the trio say farewell to Cedric as he begins his research on the ruins. The next event to happen is when the trio end up encountering an old man and his partner Pokemon Samurott. He then introduces himself as the Scale Chop Master and takes quite a liking to Ash's Oshawott. He then tells Ash he wants to help Oshawott master his Aqua Jet because, as you guys all know, Oshawott, whenever he uses Aqua Jet, has his eyes closed, and that's kind of a problem for a Water-type Pokemon. So Ash and the Scale Chop Master will be working with Oshawott so that he can open his eyes in water when doing Aqua Jet. And also, during this training, Silent catches a Stunfisk. So this part is... it's just been a bunch of captures. Hilda got a Petalil, Ash got a Darumaka, and Silent got a Stunfisk. Everyone gets a new Pokemon. But anyway, after a long, hard day of training, Ash and Oshawott finally get Aqua Jet to work properly, and this is where Oshawott evolves into its evolved form, Duat. Ash is super excited, and the two challenge the Scale Chop Master to a battle. However, there's a slight problem when it comes to Duat. The problem is Duat isn't listening to Ash at all, and instead is doing whatever it pleases. And with such bad teamwork, naturally the two lose, and this causes a rift between the two of them. Our group then finally arrives in Nimbasa City, and everyone is absolutely stoked. Ash is excited to get his 4th gym badge, Hilda is excited to see the Pokemon musical, and Silent is excited because Nimbasa is the home to the Battle Subway, and he has always wanted to experience it since he has always looked up to the Subway bosses, Ingo and Emmett. So we have a lot to cover here. Nimbasa is going to have the most out of any city in this rewrite, so let's get straight into it. This is where the group decides to split up. Hilda goes over to the musical theater, and Ash and Silent go to check out the Nimbasa amusement park. Hilda goes to the theater and once again meets the director, who she's met along her journey in multiple different places, who introduces Hilda to the head of the theater. The theater head then states that the Pokemon musical has been closed for quite some time and is planning on reopening. He then tells Hilda that he has heard very good things from the director and asks her if she would like to help direct the reopened Pokemon musical, since she did so well with her last endeavor, which of course was the Nakarine Diner Shoot. Hilda happily accepts the task and together with the team plans to reopen the Pokemon musical. Meanwhile, Ash and Silent are at the Nimbasa amusement park, and I'm really sorry guys, but I just realized I had them ditch Hilda to go to an amusement park. I'm such an asshole. Anyway, Ash and Silent decide to check out the amusement park and split up and check out the different attractions. Ash decides he wants to check out the Ferris wheel when he once again runs into none other than N. Ash tries to ignore him, but N spots him and asks him to ride the Ferris wheel with him. Ash reluctantly says yes, and this is where N reveals the truth about Team Plasma to Ash, that he is the king of Team Plasma, and his mission is to separate people and Pokemon to bring peace to the world. He then tells Ash he will awaken the legendary Pokemon Reshiram, then make his way to the Unova League, and once he wins, will use his power to enforce Pokemon liberation, separating people and Pokemon in the Unova region forever. This gives Ash another reason to make it to the league, not only to become champion, but to defeat N and stop him from separating people and Pokemon. N then tells Ash he has nothing against him and that he encourages him to stand in his way, for he might be the other hero from the legend. While he has found the truth that he wishes to enforce, Ash's ideals just might be strong enough to oppose that truth. N then leaves with some Team Plasma grunts, leaving Ash in a state of stress, but also now more determined than ever to win all 8 gym badges and stop N at the Unova League. Now everyone, it is finally time for Ash to face off against Unova's 4th gym leader, the Electric-type Pokemon expert, Elesa. Now, unlike the original Black and White, Ash isn't coming in with just Palpitoad, and this time things are going to go a bit differently. Elesa, of course, starts off with her first Omega. Since Ash doesn't have anything that can counter electric types directly, he starts off with Snivy. Now, lucky for Ash, Elisa's first Omega is male, so Ash uses Attract right away, sending Emolga into a trance of love. A few hits later and the first Omega goes down, but don't think it will be that easy for Ash. Elesa then sends out her second Omega. This time it's a female, making Attract useless, and it's up to Snivy's battle prowess now, and sadly, Emolga's agility and power is just too great, so Snivy sadly goes down after this. Next up, Ash calls upon Darumaka. Now, Darumaka is very similar to Hilbert's Pig Knight in a way where it's a very aggressive battler, and Darumaka barrages Emolga with a storm of fire-type attacks. However, the Pokemon is able to dodge all of the attacks besides one hitting its left wing, or whatever you want to call that. I don't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, this causes Emolga to falter, and although Darumaka is in fact weakened, it still has the drive and motivation to keep on battling. One attack later, and Darumaka takes out Elisa's second Emolga. Finally, Elesa sends out her ace Pokemon, Zebstrika. Now, this Pokemon is on a whole other level compared to the others. Zebstrika is then easily able to take out the weakened Darumaka with receiving practically no damage. So Ash decides he'll fight power with power. The last Pokemon Ash sends out is none other than Pikachu. The battle then turns into one of pure power and strength, with Zebstrika using Flame Charge and Pikachu countering with Volt Tackle. This repeats for a bit, but then Zebstrika pushes Pikachu back with a discharge. Pikachu, unable to escape, wonders how to counter the discharge. However, Ash then realizes something about Pikachu, how Pikachu's tail is starting to conduct electricity in a circular formation. Pikachu then breaks free from the discharge and tosses the ball of electricity to Zebstrika. Pikachu has now learned Electro Ball. Pikachu, with his new power, is then able to get the win on Zebstrika, and Ash wins against Elesa. Ash is then given the Bolt Badge, proving his victory at the Nimbasa City Gym. Ash is then told to make his way to Driftveil City because that is the closest gym from Nimbasa, but we're not done with Nimbasa just yet. Remember, Hilda is still working on reopening the Pokemon musical and Silent wants to challenge the Battle Subway, but that's gonna have to wait till next time. So now that all of Ash's business in Nimbasa has already been covered, it's time to move on to our other characters. But first, as the group is exploring the city one day, they come across Bianca and a middle-aged man who reveals himself to be her father. He demands that Bianca comes home and quits her Pokemon journey, that she is not ready to be a Pokemon trainer. This enrages our main group and they fight for Bianca on her behalf. Her father then tells her that she is not ready to be a trainer. Ash then stands up for her, saying that if he beats him in a battle, she can continue on her journey. Bianca's dad accepts and the two start a battle. As Bianca watches her father and friend battle, she gets angry and screams at them to stop fighting. She then tells her dad that she is on a journey to learn about Pokemon, see new things, and meet a lot of new people. That she is on her journey so she can mature as a person, that she will never become a person her father wants her to be by sitting at home. Bianca's father, touched by her words, allows her to continue on her journey. And Bianca says goodbye to the trio once again. Now onto Hilda's dream. After days and days of planning and directing, the Pokemon musical's reopening is finally here. Hilda has been directing the show with the director and have created a really good product and a really awesome show. The theater is jam-packed with people who have come all around to see the grand reopening of such a popular Nimbasa attraction. The show begins and everything goes exactly as planned. Hilda watches in awe as the Pokemon in stage, including her own, perform exactly as she directed them, that they followed everything perfectly. She sees the audience's eyes glowing in excitement, and Hilda starts to honestly cry tears of joy. The director then comes up to her, telling her that she was the one that made this possible, that because of her hard work and dedication, these people in Pokemon can smile upon a truly good and fantastic show, that because of her, they were able to create something truly beautiful. Hilda then decides she wants to become a director. She wants to deliver awesome performances to an audience, to create thrilling scenes just like the exhilarating one she created here today. Once the show is over, Ash and Silent come over to her and tell her how fantastic the show was, and the director tells her about a movie-making competition in Burbank City called the Directors Festival, where aspiring directors create a movie and the winner receives a certificate in their own studio in PokeStar Studios. Hilda then remembers that is what Sharon is trying to enter and now has a brand new goal for the series, to win the Burbank Directors Festival. Now it's on to Silent. He asks Ash if he can challenge the Battle Subway with him, that ever since he was a little kid, he had aspired to one day challenge the Subway bosses Ingo and Emmett, who were one of his inspirations for becoming a gym leader. Ash, getting an excuse to battle, of course accepts. They then challenge the Battle Subway, making their way through multiple waves of trainers, and finally reaching Ingo and Emmett. The Subway bosses are impressed to see just how much Silent has grown physically since he was a little kid, but they wish to test him in a battle. Ash uses Pikachu and Silent uses Pansage. The Subway bosses use Chandelure and Electros. The battle is an intense one, with Ash and Silent using everything they have learned as trainers being put to the test. However, the bosses say that they have battled multiple trainers from all over the world, that every strategy they have had can be countered. Ingo and Emmett then overpowered Pikachu and Pansage, knocking them unconscious. The battle is now over, and Silent and Ash thank the two for such an incredible battle. The two bosses tell them they are strong, both physically and mentally. Silent, after finally battling his childhood heroes, is in a great mood, and even though he lost, he still strives to use this as a way to progress himself even more. On the other hand, Ash states that he has to get stronger so he can beat people as strong as Ingo and Emmett in the Unova League. Now, we are finally done with Nimbasa City, and I know that was a lot to cover, but it was certainly a fun ride. Now our trio is on their way to Driftveil City, where Ash will take on his next gym battle. Our first event on the way there is the second Evaluathon. Before Silent can enter this one, he comes across a loud crowd with some people taking pictures next to a limousine. A man that comes out of the limo and the crowd cheers, saying things like, "I know you got this," and "good luck." This is Baron, a boy who comes from one of Unova's richest families. He aspires to become a great connoisseur like his father and looks down on Silent as a commoner. He then approaches Silent and asks him if he really is participating, and laughs when Silent says yes. He states that a mere commoner can't defeat someone who has a legacy to live up to. Silent is enraged by Baron's words and declares that he will defeat him in today's competition. The Evaluathon then begins, and it's an obstacle course. After each obstacle in the course, the connoisseurs will give an evaluation on how the other participants performed with their Pokemon. The connoisseur with the best evaluations gets the most points from the judges and would move on. After the entire day, it's down to Baron and Silent. The two give their final evaluations, but Baron's words are just too compelling and he ends up winning the Evaluathon. Baron then tells Silent he should give up being a connoisseur, that he doesn't have the necessary talent required to become an S rank, that he is merely a waste of this profession's time. Silent is upset, but is also determined. He tells Baron that he is wrong, that he will become the greatest connoisseur that Unova has ever seen. That Baron just watches, because next time when they meet, he will win over the people with his evaluations. Baron laughs him off once again as he exits the Evaluathon arena. Silent remembers Ingo and Emmett and the lesson they gave him, that he is a strong trainer, but there is always room for improvement. Silent leaves the second Evaluathon more determined than ever to prove Baron wrong and become an S-Class connoisseur. The scene then shifts to an island off the coast of Driftveil City, revealing Team Rocket along with Dr. Zager. They seem to be destroying some kind of ruins. Apparently, they are unleashing some legendary Pokemon upon the Unova region. What exactly are they doing? Now our trio is on Route 5, ready to take the Driftveil drawbridge to Driftveil City. But they decide to stop at a food truck festival before they cross the bridge. It's here where they once again run into Ash's rival Trip. Ash then asks Trip how many badges he has and states he has 4, the same number as Ash. This gets Ash wondering if Hilbert already has all 8, but there's no time to think about that. Silent asks Trip what he is doing here and states that he is here because there have been rumors of the Unova champion Alder being seen around these parts. The trio then gets super excited, especially Ash, who states he wants to battle him. Trip then gets pretty aggressive with Ash, saying that the only one to battle Alder will be him, that when he was little he met Alder, and Alder was the one who motivated him to become a trainer, that he needs to be strong, passionate, and powerful. Alder was the reason he stayed up days and nights studying books and researching Pokemon, so that one day he would have the knowledge necessary to defeat Alder in a Pokemon battle. All of a sudden, a loud laugh is heard at the center of the festival, and it's none other than Alder, who is flirting with Officer Jenny. Ash is in shock to see a champion of all people doing this, and also gets some PTSD of a certain one of his friends at the same time. Trip, then ecstatic, walks up to the champion, telling him his name and that he was the reason that he started his journey. Before Trip can ask him for a battle, Ash gets in front of him and asks first, and the two then start to argue. Alder chuckles, saying that they are quite the passionate young trainers and that he loves to see new talent. He asks Ash for his name and he tells him it's Ash. Alder then states that before he can battle them, he needs to see just how far they have come as Pokemon trainers. So Ash and Trip decide to battle to determine who will face off against Alder. The battle is now on, this time a 3 vs 3 Pokemon battle. They once again start off with Tranquil versus Tranquil. This time, Ash's Tranquil is in it for revenge, the battle that becomes one of the skies, with both birds moving fast across the air, but Ash's Tranquil is just able to get the upper hand very slightly and take down Trip's. Trip's second Pokemon is Vanillite. Tranquil, due to being weaker, is slower than before, so Trip is able to get Vanillite to freeze one of Tranquil's wings, causing her to lose the ability to use the skies to her advantage. Trip then uses this as his chance to take Tranquil out, and Tranquil goes down. For Ash's second Pokemon, he sends in Darumaka. And with using its type advantage as its main advantage, Darumaka is able to get the upper hand on Vanillite, but Vanillite definitely put some work in before it went down. Trip then sends in his final Pokemon in Ace, Superior, who is now fully evolved. Darumaka tries to use its type advantage once again, but Superior's size and overwhelming power are just too much for Darumaka to handle, so Darumaka goes down. Ash then decides that his last Pokemon will be Pikachu. Pikachu and Superior go after each other with incredible power. Pikachu has fought bigger opponents before and uses its speed to its advantage. The battle ends with Pikachu using Iron Tail and Superior using Dragon Tail, and both Pokemon are knocked out, making this battle a draw. Both are disappointed, but Alder smiles at the duo, saying that since there was no definitive victor, he can't battle one of them because he knows they have room to grow. Alder then explains how he has been all over Unova and has fought many trainers, both weak and strong. He states that all trainers have such potential and it would be a waste to battle them now when they are still growing. That instead they should have a battle with him when they get stronger, when they are at the peak of their time as a Pokemon trainer, so both of them can go all out against him. This motivates Ash and Trip and strengthens their rivalry, saying whoever wins in the Unova League better make it to the top and battle Alder. The trio then say goodbye to Alder and Trip as they cross the Driftveil drawbridge. Our trio is now finally in the city with the kick-ass beat, Driftveil City, and Ash wastes no time and quickly heads over to the Driftveil gym. This is where they encounter the Driftveil City gym leader, Clay. Ash requests to battle Clay, but Clay declines him, saying that he would love to battle him, but he has more urgent matters to attend to. The legendary Pokemon of the Unova region are going on a rampage on the Island of Legends, an island off the coast of Driftveil City. The trio asks Clay if they can help out, and Clay says sure, as long as they don't get in his way. Clay, along with our trio, head to the Island of Legends and are greeted by the Sage of the island, who thanks Clay for coming. Apparently, the legendary Pokemon Tornadus and Thundurus were disturbed by some people and are now fighting all over the island, draining the island's resources in the process. The big problem is the island gives Unova its largest source of revival herbs, which are used to make a bunch of medicines. Without the Island of Legends, it would be much harder to craft these medications, and it would just be a whole mess. The only way to calm Tornadus and Thundurus down is to call upon Landorus, that he is the only one that can calm the two of them down. The group then puts a plan to summon Landorus into motion. The arc then plays out very similar to the original with a few changes. While the group is trying to summon Landorus, the two other genies approach the group, and Ash and Clay battle the two genies while they are trying to summon Landorus. Landorus is finally summoned and is able to calm both Tornadus and Thundurus down. However, they are then captured by capture devices who were made by none other than Team Rocket. It is then revealed that Team Rocket planned this from the beginning and now will capture the three legendary Pokemon for Team Rocket's plan to take over the Unova region. However, with the combined help of Clay and our trio, Team Rocket is eventually stopped and the genies are now freed. Using their combined powers, they are able to restore the Island of Legends to what it once was, letting the fields of revival herbs grow once more. Ashton looks at Clay once again, asking him for a gym battle. Clay says to meet him at the gym tomorrow for their battle, and the group says farewell to the Sage and heads back to the mainland. Now it is finally time for the showdown between Ash and the Master of the Mine, Clay. This will be a 3-on-3 Pokemon battle. Now let's get right into it. The first Pokemon that the two send out are Duat and Krokorok. Duat refuses to listen to anything Ash says, but goes in for the offensive against Krokorok. But in the end, Duat's arrogance and refusal to listen to Ash is what is able to take it out after putting in some decent damage towards Krokorok. Ash's second Pokemon is Snivy, who is able to take out the damaged Krokorok with a combination of Attract and Vine Whip. Next up, Clay sends in Palpitoad. Ash decides to call Snivy back and calls in Pikachu. Palpitoad isn't able to keep up with Pikachu's agility and speed, however is able to slow Pikachu down with some of its ground-type attacks. It then tries using its type advantage as its main advantage, but Pikachu is able to overpower Clay's Palpitoad. Clay, frustrated, sends in his ace Pokemon, Excadrill. Excadrill's power is unlike anything Ash has ever faced so far in the Unova region. It is able to take out Ash's weakened Pikachu with ease, and now Ash only has one Pokemon left, Snivy, who was quite weak from her previous battle against Krokorok. Excadrill is unable to easily get some hits in, and Snivy can barely get any in herself. However, when everything looks like it's about to be over, Snivy gets up with determination and is then engulfed in a blue light, evolving into Servine. Servine, with its rejuvenated power, is then able to go head-to-head with Excadrill. The battle that becomes one of sheer power. However, in the end, Servine is able to land the deciding hit and take down Clay's Excadrill. Ash has now won his 5th Unova Gym badge, the Quake badge. Clay congratulates him and says that he should head for Mistralton City next. But before they leave, they should all enter the Driftveil City Battle Tournament, being hosted by Battle Club leader Don George. Ash and the others decide to stay in Driftveil and enter the tournament, all determined to win. We start off in Driftveil City, with our trio arriving at the site of the Driftveil Tournament. It's essentially just the Pokemon World Tournament Stadium from Pokemon Black and White 2. This is where the trio reunites with pretty much every important character so far. Trip, Hilbert, Cheren, Bianca, Burgundy, Baron, and Iris are all competing in this tournament. Whether it be for fun, to boost their ego, or to experience the thrill of battle, they are all here to win the entire thing. Everyone is now super fired up as they enter the stadium, preparing for the battles that await them. When they get inside, they then register for the tournament and learn the rules. The tournament will be a best of 16, with the top 16 being triple battle matches, the top 8 being 2v2 battles, the top 4 also being 2v2 battles, and the finals being a 3-on-3 Pokemon battle. They then enter the stadium to see Don George awaiting all the participants, stating that this tournament is to see how Unova's trainers are in terms of their strength and their bond with their Pokemon. And that, remember, the most important thing is to have fun. Now we finally get the matchups for the first round, and it is revealed in the top 16 Ash will be fighting against Bianca, and Burgundy will be taking on Baron. I'll say this right now, I am only going to showcase the battles between important characters. With that being said, let's jump right into the top 16. Now, the first battle of the top 16 is Ash versus Bianca. For this battle, Ash will be using Tranquil, Darumaka, and Servine, and Bianca will be using her team of Menshao, Musharna, and Minccino. Tranquil is able to take Menshao out due to her type advantage, but Musharna is then able to blast Tranquil back and knock her out as well. Next up, Servine is able to use her attacks to take down Minccino, but was still weakened by the Pokemon. Next up, Musharna is able to take out Servine, and now it's down to Darumaka and Musharna. Darumaka is then able to get the better of Musharna and knock it out, advancing Ash to the top 8. Bianca is slightly disappointed, but tells Ash this allowed her to learn more and more about Pokemon battles, and that she will keep moving forward with her dream and use this battle experience to help her do it. We now move on to the other big battle of this round, Burgundy versus Baron. Both of Silent's rivals will be battling it out in an epic triple battle. After Baron humiliated Silent at the last Evaluathon, Silent wants Burgundy to teach him a lesson. Similar to Silent, Baron insults Burgundy, calling her unelegant and a simpleton. Burgundy gets mad and declares she'll beat him. Baron just smirks as they send out their Pokemon. Baron will use Lightbird, Amoonguss, and Swoobat, while Burgundy will use Sawsbuck, Simipour, and Electros. The first to go out is Simipour, who was taken out by Lightbird. But Burgundy won't give up so easily. Her Electros is then easily able to take out Swoobat. Baron flinches for just a slight second, but then is able to recover, and then takes out Burgundy's Electros with Amoonguss. But Amoonguss is also taken out, making the battle between them a double knockout. It is now down to their aces, Sawsbuck and Lightbird, who go head-to-head in an epic battle. However, Burgundy is able to get the upper hand due to Baron's ego, and Sawsbuck takes out Lightbird, making Burgundy the victor of this battle and advancing her to the top 8. Baron is devastated and says he will show her his true power one day, and that he was merely holding back against a commoner because he felt bad. This makes Silent quite satisfied as well. The round then continues on, and everyone else makes it to the top 8. Now, we will be covering every battle in this round, and they are Ash vs. Iris, Hilbert vs. Burgundy, Silent vs. Trip, and Hilda vs. Sharon. Now let's start off with Ash vs. Iris. Iris will be using her Drayden and Dino, and Ash will be using his Darumaka and Duat. The first Pokemon to come out are Darumaka and Dino, and Darumaka wins this fight using its aggressive battling style and by using its energy to its advantage. Iris then sends out Drayden, who uses its size to its advantage, knocking out the weakened Darumaka. Ash decided to then take a risk and sends out Duat, who still won't listen to Ash. However, after being damaged by Drayden, Duat gets angry and attacks all on its own, and somehow is still able to take Drayden out, making Ash the winner of this battle. Iris, while disappointed, says that she'll definitely win the next battle between her and Ash. However, Hilbert starts to wonder what is going on with Duat, but keeps the thoughts to himself. Next up is Hilbert vs. Burgundy. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but all you need to know is that while Burgundy is getting better at Pokemon battles, at this point, Hilbert already has 8 gym badges and is very experienced. Hilbert's Emboar is unable to overpower both of Burgundy's Pokemon, winning this match for Hilbert, advancing him to the top 4. Next up, we finally have Hilda and Sharon's battle. Hilda is finally having her long-awaited rematch. Sharon starts off the match using Sock, and Hilda sends out Tepig. Sock is a lot faster than Tepig, but Tepig is also putting in a pretty good fight. During the battle, Hilda remembers how Ash battled during his gym battles and uses several of his strategies in the battle against Sharon. By doing this, Tepig is able to get the upper hand on Sock, and then Sock goes down, and Sharon then sends in his ace Pokemon, Samurott. Strategy only gets you so far, and due to Tepig being weakened already from the previous fight against Sock, and also going up against a Pokemon super effective against it, Tepig goes down. Hilda then decides to risk it and chooses Petalil as her second Pokemon, trying to use its type advantage as her main advantage against Sharon's Samurott. Petalil is trying its hardest, but Samurott's sheer power is overpowering her. Hilda then tells herself that this can't be a repeat of last time, and that she can't lose to Sharon. Her big brother is watching, and she wants to prove to him that she's strong. Then, Petalil envelops in a blue light and evolves into Lilligant. Lilligant, using its new power, is able to get the upper hand against Samurott. It's also able to dodge a multitude of Samurott's attacks due to its elegant battling style. Lilligant is then able to finally overpower Samurott once and for all, knocking Sharon's Samurott out of the battle. This giving Hilda the win and advancing her to the top 4. Hilda, with excitement, then looks to the crowd to see both Ash and Hilbert smiling at her. She couldn't be happier. She has proven to her mentor and her big brother that she has truly grown as a Pokemon trainer. Sharon tells her that although he lost, next time he won't when it comes to their main objective. Hilda then tells him she will defeat him at the Directors Festival, and Sharon accepts the challenge. Next up, we have Silent vs. Trip. And this battle plays out pretty much the same exact way it did in the original Silent vs. Trip in the show. Silent uses his experience as a gym leader and is somehow able to overcome Trip's analytical battling style and ends up winning the entire battle. I would go more into detail, but I would rather not make this video get way too long, so now the top 4 is introduced, with Ash facing Silent and Hilbert facing off against Hilda. It is now the next day, and the top 4 is underway with our first match, Ash vs. Silent. This battle will be a 2v2 Pokemon battle, and both trainers are ready to face off against one another. Both trainers know each other very well, and Silent has also been itching for a rematch. The first battle is between Stunfisk and Tranquil. Stunfisk is able to hold its own against Tranquil, but due to Tranquil having the skies to her advantage, Stunfisk is lagging a bit behind. However, Silent is also playing a bit of a gamble here due to Stunfisk's typing. While Stunfisk is an electric type, it's also a ground type, so while half of Stunfisk's moves will be super effective, the other moves will be extremely weak. However, Silent is no pushover. He is a gym leader after all. Silent, by using Stunfisk's electric type attacks and also adapting to Ash's unique battling strategy, and Style is able to take out Ash's Tranquil. But Ash isn't done just yet, and his next Pokemon is none other than Pikachu, who makes quick work of Silent's weakened Stunfisk. Next up, Silent decides to send in his ace as well, being Pansage. The battle is now a complete remake of Ash's first Unova gym battle, but who will come out on top this time? Pikachu once again uses its speed, but Silent was more than prepared for it this time. Pansage, using the terrain, is able to dodge Pikachu's attacks while storing up energy for a powerful Solar Beam. The Solar Beam then directly hits Pikachu, but isn't enough to take the Electric Mouse out. Pikachu then unleashes all of his power and charges in for a counterattack. Silent tries to use the same strategy from before, but it's not working and Pikachu is getting the upper hand. This is when Silent realizes all hope is lost and accepts defeat at the hands of Ash and Pikachu. Pansage goes down and Ash has won this battle, advancing him to the finals. The two then shake hands and Silent tells him he is truly a talented trainer, and that he wants to keep improving with him. Ash does the same and the two friends exit the stadium, and now it's time for the sibling versus sibling battle. Hilda versus Hilbert. Who will win this battle? Hilda, who has been learning from Ash, or Hilbert, the talented older brother who was already qualified for the Unova League? Hilbert goes straight for his ace, being Emboar, and Hilda starts off with her newly evolved Lilligant. Even though Hilbert may be a better battler in every way, she won't go down without a fight. Hilda tries using some of Ash's strategies again, but due to Lilligant's type disadvantage and Emboar's sheer power, Emboar in his aggressive battling style is able to take out Lilligant with ease. Hilda is frustrated, but determined to prove to her brother that she has improved, that she is strong, and that she is a true Pokemon trainer. Hilda calls out her second Pokemon, being Tepig. Tepig and Hilda are in sync as they take on Emboar and Hilbert. Tepig is able to dodge a lot of Emboar's attacks, but once again Emboar proves just how strong he is. Hilbert tells Hilda that no matter how much she dodges, this battle's victor was determined as soon as the battle started. One Fire Pledge later, and Tepig is knocked out, and Hilbert is now on his way to face Ash in the finals. Hilda is upset, but content and proud of her actions. She was able to face her big brother. Although she couldn't win, she has truly come a far way. Hilbert comes up to her and places his hand on her shoulder, telling her that she has truly grown and that he is more than proud of her. Hilda starts to tear up a bit and hugs her big brother, knowing she has made him proud. However, there is no more time to waste. The finals is now upon us. Who will be the victor of the Don George Driftveil City Battle Tournament? The battling wonder Ash, or Unova's brightest new trainer, Hilbert? We have reached the finals, Ash versus Hilbert, and this battle will be a 3-on-3. And Ash starts off the battle with his Servine, and Hilbert starts off with his Archeops. The battle starts off and it immediately displays the strength of the two trainers. Servine and Archeops are battling each other at very fast speeds, and each are damaging the other at an equal pace. Hilbert compliments Ash, saying that he truly is strong, and Ash thanks him and states this will be nothing like the last time they battled. Servine is unable to get the upper hand for a slight second and uses Leaf Tornado, taking Archeops down. Hilbert smirks as he sends in his second Pokemon, being his Galvantula. At this point, Servine is severely weakened, but Galvantula is pumped up and ready to go. Using this to its advantage, Galvantula surrounds Servine in an electric web and uses its offensive moves to knock Servine out. Ash then sends in his next Pokemon, being Darumaka. Darumaka is quite the trickster and the battler, and using its size as its main advantage, it's able to find a way to dodge Galvantula's Electro Web and find a weak spot to knock it off balance. Darumaka then goes in for one more Fire Punch and Galvantula is taken out. Hilbert then sends out his ace as his final Pokemon, Emboar, makes his way to the battlefield. It isn't even a competition between the two Pokemon. Emboar exceeds Darumaka in every way. A second later, and Darumaka has already been taken out by Hilbert's Emboar. Ash is down to one last Pokemon, and although he doesn't want to risk it, he feels like he can't end this battle any other way. Ash then sends out his final Pokemon, Duat, the Pokemon who won't listen to him, but the Pokemon who lost to Emboar as an Oshawott and wants his revenge. The battle resumes and Ash tells Duat the only way they are going to beat Hilbert and Embor is if they work together, but Duat is not having any of it. Instead of listening to Ash, Duat goes in with brute force, with a burning rage to get his revenge on Embor. Hilbert realizes this weakness and uses this to his advantage. Embor is able to damage Duat over and over again, but Duat keeps getting back up no matter how tired it is. But Duat can only last for so long, and eventually, Duat falls to the floor in exhaustion, losing the battle for Ash and making Hilbert the winner of the entire tournament. Ash then rushes over to Duat to make sure he's okay, and Duat opens his eyes, giving Ash a sigh of relief. Hilbert then comes over to the trainer in Pokemon, telling them that was not something to be taken lightly, and that as long as the two do not work together, they will never even come close to beating him. Hilbert then states that if they don't master their teamwork together, he refuses to battle them again, that he won't battle them until Ash and Duat are one. And this is where the Driftveil City Battle Tournament comes to a close. Now, we are still in Driftveil City, and before the trio starts heading to Mistralton, one last event occurs in Driftveil. While on their way out of the city, the group encounters the Krokorok all the way back from the hotel, who challenges Ash's Pikachu to a battle. Ash and Pikachu accept this challenge. Although Krokorok has the type advantage, it is quite arrogant, and with this, it causes the Pokemon to falter. Pikachu uses this to his advantage and is able to get the upper hand. However, Krokorok isn't so easy to take down, and is able to counter a lot of Pikachu's attacks. But when it comes down to a battle of strength, Pikachu is obviously going to come out on top. Krokorok is then defeated by Pikachu, and is now depressed because it has been proven to be weaker to someone it proclaimed as its rival. Because we find out throughout all of the Unova journey, Krokorok has been following Ash and Pikachu, waiting for the perfect moment to rematch him since that time at the hotel. Ash then comes up to Krokorok and tells him how strong he is, and that he would love for him to come along with him for his journey, but they should get stronger together. Krokorok accepts this offer and joins Ash's team. Ash's team is now complete, and at this time, it's Pikachu, Tranquil, Duat, Darumaka, Servide, and Krokorok. After this, our trio finally leaves Driftveil City. Now, on the way to Mistralton, not a lot happens at all. All that happens is that the trio makes their way through the Chargestone Cave. While in the cave, they once again come across Bianca, who is doing research on the Pokemon Joltik and Galvantula and their natural habitats for Professor Juniper. The group helps Bianca get all the information she needs on the Pokemon for her research paper, and also helps a young Joltik get back to its parents, which in turn causes the group of Joltik and Galvantula to trust the group. After the fun day of researching the Pokemon, the group says farewell to Bianca once again and reaches Mistralton City. Our trio has now finally arrived in Mistralton City, and wastes no time heading over to the gym. However, what they find there is very weird. Ash ends up having to wait in line for a gym battle against Skyla, and they just assume that the Mistralton gym leader is just in very high demand. However, when Skyla lands, her way of battling is very different. Her air battles use her knowledge of type matchups to predict the results of her battles based off her opponent's Pokemon. Obviously, Ash and Silent also don't take kindly to this and approach Skyla. They tell her that this isn't the right way to battle, and Skyla responds saying this gives her less work time and to do more time what she wants to do and have some fun. Silent says this is disgraceful for a gym leader and reveals himself as the Striaton City gym leader and challenges Skyla to an actual battle. Skyla, intrigued to see how strong a real gym leader actually is, accepts Silent's challenge, but tells him that she will win because her Pokemon are the strongest. Silent intends to beat Skyla and prove her wrong. The battle starts off between Stunfisk and Swoobat. Swoobat is able to dodge a bunch of Silent attacks, but Silent Stunfisk also has a super effective move against Swoobat that counters Swoobat's attacks. However, Swoobat won't give up and their battle ends in a tie. The next fight to occur is a fight between Dwebble and Unfezant. This battle is quite an easy win for Silent's Dwebble due to its type advantage, and also it evolves into Crustle midway through the battle. However, Skyla has one more ace up her sleeve. Swanna comes out and in a matter of seconds is able to absolutely destroy Crustle. But Silent won't give up. He now sends in his own ace Pokemon, Pansage. The battle then becomes one of speed, with Swanna using its flight attacks and Pansage using his agility. The Pokemon counter each other with powerful attacks, but Swanna's power is just a little more powerful. This makes Pansage faint, making the winner of the battle the Mistralton City Gym Leader, Skyla. Skyla says she is quite disappointed and expected a better challenge from an actual gym leader. Silent is depressed. Not only did he fail to show how to be a true gym leader, but he lost to a gym leader who couldn't care less about Pokemon battles. Ash isn't having any of this and lashes out at Skyla, demanding that she battles him right here, right now. Skyla, now full of herself, states that she would crush him just like she did with Silent, and if she wins, she will prove her air battles are more efficient. Now, Ash isn't fighting just for his gym challenge, but also for Silent's pride. The next day arrives and it's time for Ash's gym battle against Skyla. Before the battle, Ash promises that he will win this battle for the both of them, obviously referring to Silent. And the two then go in for a bro hug. Ash won't go down so easily. The battle begins and this will be a 3-on-3 battle. The battle starts off with Ash using Krokorok and Skyla using Swoobat. Krokorok is easily the stronger of the two, but Swoobat is more agile, so it's able to dodge most of Krokorok's attacks. Swoobat isn't able to take Krokorok out due to his lack of stamina, and also having the type advantage. The next Pokemon Ash sends out is Tranquil. Now the battle has become a flight against flight battle, and due to Swoobat being tired from dodging all of Krokorok's attacks, Tranquil is able to get the upper hand and take down Swoobat. Skyla then calls out her Unpheasant, who then traps Tranquil inside a hurricane. Ash, who is worried about the Pokemon, decides to return Tranquil, sending out his last Pokemon, Pikachu. Pikachu then faces off against Unpheasant, and after using its powerful electric-type moves and incredible speed, it is able to take down Unpheasant. However, this battle is far from over. Skyla sends in her last Pokemon, being Swanna, who then unleashes a wave of attacks at Pikachu. Pikachu tries to dodge them, but Swanna is just way too fast, and isn't giving Pikachu a single moment to breathe. Skyla then states that her Pokemon are just so powerful, and doing these kind of battles is just a waste of time for both her and her opponent, because she already knows the outcome. After this, Pikachu sadly goes down. Ash is down to only one last Pokemon, Tranquil. Tranquil is weakened from the previous battle against Swoobat and Unpheasant, and is getting beaten pretty easily. However, Tranquil won't give up, and in a moment of determination evolves into Unpheasant. Unpheasant in its new form is able to match Swanna's speed, and this becomes a high-speed aerial battle. This sparks something in Skyla, who is in awe at the amazing battle she's experiencing. Unpheasant is finally able to get the upper hand on Swanna, and this makes Swanna go down. Ash has officially won the gym battle, and then he gives Silent a thumbs up. Silent then gives Ash a large smirk, happy that his friend was able to fulfill his promise of beating Skyla. Skyla then comes up to Ash, telling him that she just had the best battle of her life, and that real gym battles are actually quite fun. Skyla then states that from now on she will fight everyone the right way, and awards Ash with the Jet Badge. She then tells Ash the closest gym from here is in Iciris City, and that he should head there next. Ash thanks Skyla for the battle and sets his sights on his 7th gym badge. Our trio then say farewell to Mistralton and head towards Iciris City. Now, some stuff happens on the way to Iciris City. The first event is when the trio encounter the Fire Gladiator Tournament, where Fire-type Pokemon battle it out in a Coliseum. Darumaka, with its will to battle, insists it participates. Darumaka makes it through the ranks and makes it to the finals, where he and Ash face off against last year's champion, a trainer named Tristan, and his Heatmor. Darumaka is struggling, but it won't give up, and that's when it evolves into Darmanitan and is able to claim victory over Heatmor. Ash has won the Fire Gladiator Tournament. Next, our heroes trek through Twist Mountain, and it's not the easiest thing to make it through one of Unova's tallest mountains. However, after a long trek through Twist Mountain, the group is finally able to get out of it with pretty much ease, although it wasn't the easiest thing in the world, despite me saying it was with ease. Next up, it's Silent's third Evaluathon. This time, he isn't facing any of his rivals, but he's still just as determined. The trial for this Evaluathon is to take a personality quiz with your Pokemon. The judges would then send a random quiz to one of the connoisseurs, and they would have to create an evaluation based off what each connoisseur put on the quiz. Silent is able to dominate this competition with ease and creates the best evaluation out of any connoisseur there, winning him first place. The judges then state Silent has won the 50 points required to enter the Master Evaluation. Silent is overjoyed and the others are just as excited. Silent then receives a call from Chili and Cress telling him they saw the whole thing on TV and are so proud of him, and that he needs to make them proud. Silent promises his brothers he will win the Master Evaluation and finally become the S-Class connoisseur he has always wanted to be. The trio has now finally arrived in Icerius City, and it's straight to the gym. This time, Ash will be taking on the martial artist and master of Ice-type Pokemon, Bryson. Bryson starts off the battle with Vanellish, and Ash sends in Darmanitan. Darmanitan is strong, and due to its sheer firepower, this ice cream cone doesn't stand a chance against the burning passion of a fierce battler. So Vanellish goes down with relatively ease. However, before it went down, it froze a bit on Darmanitan's leg. Next up is Cryogonal, who is a lot stronger than Vanellish. Darmanitan goes in for the same strategy, but Cryogonal is able to counter Darmanitan's attacks and gain the upper hand. Despite its type advantage, Darmanitan goes down against Cryogonal. Next up, Ash calls upon Duat, who is now finally listening to Ash. After what happened at the Driftveil City Battle Tournament, Duat decided that he finally had to work with Ash if he wanted to beat his main rival, being Emboar. So Ash and Duat's teamwork went from being terrible to awesome very quickly. And with their teamwork and Duat's strength, Cryogonal goes down. Bryson is down to his last Mon, Beartic. Beartic summons a blizzard, turning the battlefield into a snowy landscape. Duat can barely see, and Beartic through the snow is able to attack Duat from all sides. In the end, Duat goes down against Beartic, so Ash decides to end this battle with his latest addition to the team, Krokorok. Krokorok is getting beaten up due to being unable to see Beartic, but this is where Ash gets an idea. Krokorok then uses Stone Edge to disperse the snow, and then grabs hold of two stones like swords. The battle then becomes one of strength, and Krokorok comes out on top. Ash, after winning the battle against Bryson, is given the Freeze Badge, and now has plans to end his gym challenge in Opelucid City. But then the group hears commotion outside. They leave the gym to see Team Plasma marching to the Dragon Spiral Tower, led by none other than N. The trio along with Bryson also spot Cedric, Juniper, and Alder, who say they were just chatting in town when Team Plasma suddenly showed up. Wondering what they are up to, the group decides to follow them, and when they reach the tower, they are stopped by the grunts, but the group takes care of them so Ash can climb the Dragon Spiral Tower. Inside the tower, Ash battles some Team Plasma grunts, but finally makes it to the top, and what he finds is absolutely shocking. It's here, Reshiram. N laughs as he embraces the return of the legendary dragon. However, that's not all. Ash's backpack then starts to glow blue, and Ash takes out the mysterious rock out of his bag. N then states the following. You see, that stone contains the legendary Pokemon Zekrom, and it's reacting to Reshiram's presence. Reshiram and Guy, we will be waiting for you at the Unova League. If you cannot unleash Zekrom before our fight, my victory is guaranteed. N then retreats along with Team Plasma, and Ash then tells them everything. How he wields Zekrom, and that he is the only hope for the Unova region. Bryson then tells Ash if anyone knows how to unleash Zekrom's power, it would be the Opelucid City gym leader, Drayden. This is when the trio decides they also need to go to Opelucid as fast as possible, not only to end Ash's gym challenge, but also to find out how to unleash Zekrom and stop N at the Unova League. Now, our trio is on their way to Opelucid City, the home of Ash's final gym battle. However, the group runs into quite a familiar face on the way there, Iris. Iris tells them that she is also on her way to Opelucid City, telling the trio she has spent the last year traveling the Unova region with her Pokemon in order to get stronger, and now she finally feels like she is ready to face off against Drayden. who she tells the group basically raised her. She is determined to beat Drayden and secure her spot as the successor of the Opelucid City Gym. Ash, seeing a perfect opportunity, offers Iris the chance to travel with them to Opelucid City, so that they can train together for their respective battles against Drayden. Iris is more than happy to accept Ash's invitation. Ash and Iris then leave Hilda and Silent to go train, and this is where the two battle for hours on end. By the time they are almost done, both are dripping sweat, but they are still enjoying themselves, and neither one is giving in. It's down to Pikachu and Fracture is able to surpass its limits and evolve into Haxorus. However, when the two Pokemon charge at each other to decide the final blow, the two Pokemon pass out from exhaustion before they can continue and finish the battle. Ash and Iris decide to call it a night from there and return to Silent and Hilda. However, their training is just getting started, and they are super stoked to take on the Dragon Master Drayden. Now, I could go more in-depth about the trip to Opelucid, but there really isn't anything relevant that happens from this point on until the group reaches Opelucid, so let's just skip to there. Our group has finally reached their destination, Opelucid City. Both Ash and Iris are stoked to take on Drayden, but it's pretty late, so Iris tells them that they can stay at her place while they're in Opelucid, and leads them to her house. This is when we are introduced to Drayden and his family, who are more than happy to welcome the trio into their home. Drayden then goes up to Iris with a stern face and asks her why she has come back. Iris tells Drayden that she believes she is ready for her trial. Drayden laughs of excitement and pats Iris on the head, telling her he is excited for their battle. He then turns his attention to Ash. He then grabs his backpack and pulls out the Darkstone. Drayden then states that Ash must be the boy Alder told him about. Drayden then asks Ash if he knows how much of a burden it is to have the fate of all of Unova on his shoulders. Ash nods, telling Drayden he is already aware of what he has to do. He then begs Drayden to help him unleash Zekrom's power, and Drayden tells Ash he will be the judge of all that. Drayden tells Ash he will judge his skill in battle, but he tells him this first, that if he cannot defeat him in battle, he is not worthy of being Zekrom's chosen hero. This gets Ash super excited to defeat Drayden, so we can prove to him that he is worthy of Zekrom. But before that, it's dinner time, so Silent prepares Iris, Drayden, and his family dinner as thanks for their hospitality. Ash and Iris go to bed with full stomachs, looking forward to their upcoming trials. It is now the next day, and it is time for Iris to have her face off against Drayden. Remember, if she wins, she has secured her spot as the next Opelucid City Gym Leader. Ash, although upset that it's not his turn to battle yet, tells Iris to do her best, and that he will be cheering for her. Iris and Drayden have a 3-on-3 Pokemon battle, and it begins now. Drayden starts off the battle with Druddigon, and Iris starts off with one of her Pokemon, Aggron. The Pokemon seem to be very evenly matched, and you can tell that Drayden was definitely Iris' teacher from the way they're battling. The Pokemon are attacking each other with incredible attacks, countering one another. However, Druddigon is just slightly more powerful, and Aggron goes down. But Iris is far from done, as she sends in her second Pokemon, Dragonite. Iris reveals she caught this Dragonite while in Eastern Unova, and Drayden is quite impressed with her accomplishment. Dragonite is no disappointment and makes quick work of the weakened Druddigon. Drayden then sends in his second Pokemon, being Hydreigon. Now it's a battle of pseudo-legendaries. Hydreigon and Druddigon then charge at each other with extreme power. The battle transforms into one of sheer strength and determination. The two continue to attack each other at rapid speeds, like two bolts of lightning fighting each other. However, the two go in for the final blow, and when the smoke clears, both Dragonite and Hydreigon are on the floor. Now, both Iris and Drayden are down to their very last Pokemon, Haxorus. Iris' Haxorus is normal colored, while Drayden's is actually a shiny Haxorus. The battle now comes down to this question. Will the winner be Iris' Haxorus, or will it be Drayden's? The two aces of the Dragon Trainers waste no time and get straight into the action. This is a battle that is truly between two Dragon Masters. Iris then tells Drayden that he was her main inspiration to become a Dragon Master, that he was the one who inspired her to become something great, that she owes everything to him, and that's why she has to beat him here and now, so that she can prove that the student has finally surpassed the Master. Iris then tells Haxorus it's time to show the two the move they mastered together. Haxorus then uses Giga Impact on Drayden's Haxorus, and Drayden's Haxorus goes down. Iris has done it. She has defeated Drayden, and Drayden comes over to her with a very satisfied face, and tells her how proud he is of her. He tells her that when it is his time to retire, he has found the perfect person to succeed him. Ash and the others then come over to congratulate Iris, and Ash looks straight into Drayden's eyes. Tomorrow, Ash will take on his greatest Unova challenge yet. Will he be able to defeat Drayden and unleash Zekrom's power? The time has come. Ash's battle against Drayden. The last pillar standing in Ash's way from facing N at the Unova League. For this battle, Ash decides to use the first 3 Pokemon he had caught in Unova. It has no intention on losing. The first fight is between Ash's Unpheasant and Drayden's Hydreigon. The battle quickly becomes one of agility and speed, with no side giving in. Unpheasant and Hydreigon go head to head in an extreme aerial battle, but Unpheasant is just a bit faster, which in turn makes Hydreigon tired and loses its endurance. Ash takes this advantage to finish Hydreigon off, and Unpheasant comes out the victor. Next up is Drayden's Druddigon. Due to Unpheasant being extremely weakened from its battle against Hydreigon, it's already at a huge disadvantage. Even though Druddigon is limited to the land, the weakened bird stood no chance against the dragon. Next up is Ash's Duat. The 2 Pokemon charge at each other, with Duat using his Scale Shots and Druddigon using its claws. The battle becomes one of practically swordplay. However, unlike before, Ash and Duat are perfectly in sync, and Druddigon goes down. Finally, Drayden is down to his final Pokemon, Haxorus. Ash and Duat are ready, but for some reason Haxorus seems to be even stronger than before with its battle with Iris. Duat cannot handle the immense speed and power that Haxorus is displaying and goes down. Ash is down to his last Pokemon, Pikachu. Pikachu is able to match Haxorus' speed, but not its power. Ash thinks to himself that he has to win. He has to defeat Drayden and unleash Zekrom's power. Otherwise, N will separate people and Pokemon forever. He is the only thing standing in his way, and he can't let everyone down. The stone in Ash's backpack starts to glow, and Pikachu is then surrounded by blue lightning. When it disappears, the same phenomenon from the Team Rocket attack on Castelia City is triggered once again. Drayden then thinks to himself that Pikachu must be receiving the power from Zekrom. That when Ash's ideals are at their strongest, Zekrom resonates with him. Perhaps granting Pikachu their power is sort of a trial for Ash to overcome. So Zekrom can truly determine if Ash is worthy of its power. The battle then erupts into a fierce one, with no side giving in. Haxorus, despite being a normal Pokemon, is able to keep up with the boosted Pikachu and is able to counter his supercharged electric attacks. However, Ash needs to win, no matter what. However, something then happens. Ash then thinks to himself, what if I fail? What if N wins? What if I let everyone down? Ash's ideals then weaken and Zekrom's power disappears from Pikachu. Haxorus goes in for an attack and it's over. Pikachu is unable to battle and the winner is Drayden. Ash then starts to cry, realizing he couldn't overcome Drayden and starts seeing himself as a failure. Drayden then comes over to him and tells him at this point in time he is not worthy of being Zekrom's master, that he will not show himself here again until he has found his way, until his ideals are at their peak. Otherwise, he will never be able to defeat him. The next morning, Pikachu wakes up to see that Ash is gone. He wakes up the rest of the group, who tell the worried Pikachu they have no idea where Ash is. Iris then suggests they search the city for him, and the group agrees. The group searches the city for Ash, but no one can find him, until Iris stumbles upon Ash in a nearby forest. He is punching a tree over and over again, hurting himself more and more. His hands are bruised, and before he can punch the tree again, Iris stops him. She yells at Ash, asking him what he is thinking, and why did he worry the others. Ash tells Iris that he is a failure, that Pokemon and people will be separated from each other because he wasn't strong enough. Iris then states that she doesn't care about that nonsense, and that Ash needs to get his act together. That the Ash she knows is one who doesn't give up, someone who doesn't quit after losing one measly battle. That the Ash she knows would bring himself back up, train and become stronger and defeat Drayden. She then grabs Ash and tells him that they are trading right now whether he likes it or not. Ash then tells Iris that she is right, that he doesn't have to be sulking because of one loss, that he shouldn't bring himself down so much. Ash's frown then becomes a smile. He then tells Iris they will train together all day and all night, and he will defeat Drayden no matter what. After training hard with Iris, Silent, and Hilda, Ash is ready for his rematch against Drayden. He then approaches Drayden asking for a rematch. Drayden tells Ash he was expecting this, and then he asks him if he thinks he has truly become worthy of Zekrom's power. Ash tells him he honestly has no idea, but he won't know until they have settled this with a battle. Drayden laughs and tells Ash that if he wants to prove himself worthy of Zekrom, he must overcome a trial greater than his previous one. He tells Ash they will be having a 6-on-6 Pokemon battle. This will be Ash's first full battle in the Unova region, and he has no intention on losing to Drayden a second time. The battle starts off with Ash sending out Unpheasant and Drayden sending in Altaria. The two flying Pokemon charge head-to-head at each other, with neither one allowing the other to get the upper hand. However, Unpheasant can only hold its own against Altaria's Dragon typing for so long, and due to its lack of defense, goes down. Ash is down one Pokemon, but is still as determined. Next up is Darmanitan, who comes in with a barrage of Fire-type attacks. Altaria tries using its speed to escape, but it's surrounded by a storm of flames and goes down. Next up is Drayden's Druddigon, who turns the battle into one of pure strength. The two giants go head-to-head using their muscles as their main advantage. The two practically enter a boxing match, with Darmanitan using Fire Punch and Druddigon using Dragon Claw. The two cancel each other out and in the end are able to knock each other out. The next two Pokemon to come out are Servine and Flygon. Servine uses Attract, but it's to no avail as Drayden's Flygon is in fact a female. The Flygon then uses its ground-type attacks to surround Servine in a barrier of stone. However, using its grass-type attacks, Servine is able to break free from the chains of the stone. Flygon then results to swarming Servine with a sandstorm. However, some measly sand won't stand in Servine's way. Servine uses Leaf Tornado with her eyes closed, knocking Flygon out and dispersing the sandstorm. Drayden then sends in his fourth Pokemon, Salamence. Salamence is then easily able to get the upper hand against Servine, knocking the Grass Snake Pokemon out. Ash is now down to only 3 Pokemon left, Krokorok, Dewott, and Pikachu. Next up is Krokorok, who enters the arena with a declaration of war. Krokorok then charges at Salamence, who charges at the Krokorok. Krokorok and Salamence then charge at each other. Salamence uses an attack head-on, and Krokorok is just barely able to hold the pseudo-legendary back. Salamence tries to escape Krokorok's grip, but it's to no avail. One Stone Edge later, and Salamence is sent flying into the air, and goes down. Next up is Hydreigon. He is ready to get revenge for his fallen comrade. The two then begin an intense battle, one of sheer determination and power. With either Pokemon willing to give in, the two continue to attack and attack and attack. It comes down to what Pokemon can remain standing, and sadly that Pokemon isn't Krokorok. After having to hold back Salamence, Krokorok was pretty weak going into this battle with Hydreigon, and it can no longer maintain its strength. Krokorok goes down, and now both trainers are down to only 2 Pokemon. Ash sends in Dewott next, the Master Swordsman. Dewott immediately turns to his Scale Chops to face the Dark Beast in front of him. You all know the stories of the hero who slayed the dragon. Well, it's no different here. Hydreigon is weakened from its battle against Krokorok and is unable to keep up with the perfect teamwork of Ash and Dewott. Dewott launches slash after slash after slash upon Hydreigon until Hydreigon falls down in a state of weakness. Using this as his chance, Dewott goes in for a Razor Shell and Hydreigon goes down. However, it's not over just yet. Drayden saved his best Pokemon for last, Haxorus. Just like last time, Haxorus is easily able to overpower Dewott, and before even has a chance to attack, Haxorus sends Dewott flying with a Fiery Passion, and Dewott goes down. Now it's just down to the 2 final Pokemon, similar to last time, Pikachu and Haxorus. The battle starts off very similar to last time, however Ashton starts to think to himself that this time it won't end like the last, that he will win using his ideals. He will make it to the top of the Unova League and defeat Reshiram. He will not allow the bonds between people and Pokemon to be destroyed. He won't allow it! Then, Ash's backpack glows even brighter than before, and Pikachu is once again enveloped in Zekrom's power. However, something is different this time. Pikachu is in the form he was in originally, but then lightning bursts again, and Pikachu enters a fully powered form, and even more powerful than last time. Pikachu and Ash seem fully determined. There is no worry of failure. There is no doubt. There is only determination and the ideals of Ash and Pikachu. Determination to defeat Drayden, win the Unova League, and defeat Team Plasma in N. But this will not end the same way as last time. That this time things will be different. Drayden states that Ash's ideals have truly become worthy of Zekrom, but he's too fired up to just admit defeat. Pikachu and Haxorus then enter a battle of the Titans, with either Pokemon allowing the other to get the upper hand against one another. However, Ash and Pikachu's ideals are truly in sync with each other, and they refuse to lose to the Dragon Master once again. Ash calls in for one last Thunderbolt, and Haxorus goes down. They've done it! They've cleared the Unova Gym Challenge. Drayden comes over to Ash and congratulates him, telling him he is truly worthy of wielding Zekrom's power, that he is the only one who can defeat Reshiram. He then hands Ash the Legend Badge, his 8th and final Unova Gym Badge. Iris then comes over to Ash and tells him that with this battle, it has inspired her to also enter the Unova League as well. She states she will earn all 8 gym badges and will be seeing Ash in the league. Ash accepts her challenge, and the trio say farewell to Drayden, and now set sail for Burbank City, home to Pokestar Studios and the Directors Festival. So after receiving his 8th gym badge in Opelucid City, Ash is now qualified for the Unova League. However, the league doesn't start for another 2 months, so Ash is going to have to wait a little while before he can face off against Trip, Hilbert, Iris, and N. But the Directors Festival is just about to start, and Hilda is super excited. If she is able to win this festival, she will solidify herself in the movie-making world. The trio then wasted no time and hop on a plane for Burbank City, home of Pokestar Studios. Hilda then quickly makes her way over to Pokestar Studios, which is any director's dream. The studio is full of historical movie props and many posters. It's also home to one of the many filming studios where some of the best movies of all time, such as Princess Pokemon's Holiday, was filmed. Hilda then once again encounters Charon and his Samurott. Charon tells Hilda he always knew she had potential for the movie scene, and this time he won't lose like last time. Hilda tells Charon that she is clearly the more talented director, which Charon laughs off, telling Hilda that she is nowhere near as talented as he is. Silent breaks up their little feud and tells the others that they should probably be signing up for the festival instead of arguing amongst themselves. After registering for the festival, the group is led to their hotel. However, they stop to see a crowd surrounding someone who is doing a performance. Apparently they are a Pokemon coordinator from the Sinnoh region, and Ash is very familiar with her. That's right, the person performing is none other than Dawn, who after her performance comes up and greets Ash. The two old friends perform their iconic high five and start to catch up. Dawn introduces herself to the group, and Silent and Hilda introduce themselves as well. Dawn tells the group she came here because she wanted to see the movies created at the festival. She also tells them that she is here to meet a certain someone in about 1 week, but won't tell Ash who it is. Hilda then states for her movie she wants to make an action film in a scenario where a Pokemon Knight and Pokemon Princess face the evil Pokemon Emperor Nexus, who will be played by Silent. She states that while Ash's Pokemon work for stunts, Dawn's experience with contests may be just what she needs to take the stunts to the next level. Dawn happily agrees to help Hilda film her movie. Charon then laughs, saying that no matter how much help she gets, she will never beat him. The next day, the festival begins and Hilda is assigned to Studio 7. She has exactly 5 days to film her movie, which she has dubbed the Pokemon Knight and Princess vs. Nexus. The filming process begins, and everything is going smoothly until the action scenes. Hilda tells Dawn that her Pokemon are acting way too elegant during their stunts, and Dawn gets frustrated at Hilda because of this, telling her that's how her Pokemon are, because she's a coordinator, and their whole thing is that they're elegant, and that she really can't help that her Pokemon are being quote-unquote too elegant. The two then start to get into more arguments throughout the day, leading to a bunch of mess-ups during the filming process. However, at the end of the day, Dawn and Hilda both apologize, and Hilda says that she got a little too nitpicky, and she can make Dawn's elegant stunts work well with her movie. Dawn also apologizes in that she overreacted way too much. The two girls then shake off their differences and are now more determined than ever to see this movie complete. The week passes and the crew work their butts off on filming Hilda's movie. While there are some mess-ups, things go pretty smoothly. Hilda is in awe with what she has created. she tells herself that even if she doesn't win, she is very proud of what she has made here today. And the day finally comes. The Directors Festival Grand Theater Conference, where directors will show off their films to an audience and some judges to determine the best film and Unova's next big director. The films range from romances to dramas to actions to comedies and much more. Eventually, it's Charon's turn. He also created an action movie. His movie is titled Destiny in the Stars and focuses on a young soldier named Zane Clark, who was a member of the Unova Galactic Federation. Together with his partner, a half Pokemon, half cyborg Sock, they protect the Federation base from the aliens known as the Feeders. The film gets very positive reception from the judges and the audience. And now, it's Hilda's turn, and it's time for the Pokemon Knight and Princess vs. Nexus to be seen on the big screen. The evil Emperor Nexus has taken over the Sacred Lands and is terrorizing the land. The Pokemon Knight Ashton and Princess of the Sacred Lands Darlia, along with their crew of Pokemon, take on Nexus's empire, hoping to defeat the evil Emperor and restore peace to the Sacred Lands. The film is also praised and the crowd loves it. Hilda cries of joy getting to experience the same experience from back in Nimbasa. Hilda absolutely loves the feeling of people smiling at the things she creates. She can't get enough of it. When everything is said and done, the movie that takes first place is the Pokemon Knight and Princess vs. Nexus. Hilda is super excited and is given a certificate and a studio of her own in Pokestar Studios. The chairman of Pokestar Studios, who is actually the twin brother of the guy who runs the Pokemon musical, congrats her and asks Hilda if she wants to start her next film right away, which Hilda declines. She tells the chairman that she is still on her journey and that she can't just abandon her comrades. She tells the chairman that once her journey is over, she'll be back to claim that studio and will deliver the best films Unova has ever seen. Hilda walks up to Charon, who congratulates her and tells her that he'll keep trying harder and harder to become as good as her. However, Charon says that he can't just accept defeat like this. He then challenges Hilda to a one-on-one Pokemon battle, just to see how far she truly has come as a Pokemon trainer, as a person, and as a director. Hilda accepts and the battle is on. The battle is between Hilda's Tepig and Charon's Samurott. Throughout the battle, Hilda uses a lot of Ash's gym battle strategies to take on Charon. But Charon won't go down that easily. The battle becomes one of sheer power, and somehow Tepig is able to stand strong against Samurott. Ash, Dawn, and Silent cheer Hilda on, and Hilda thinks to herself what she would have done without them. Hilda then calls for a flame charge, and Charon calls for a razor shell. The two collide, and both Pokemon are unconscious, making the battle a draw. Charon and Hilda shake hands, saying that they both have a long way to go. Charon tells the group he is going on a short journey to find his place in the world, and will be at the Unova League to cheer Ash on. The group says farewell to Charon, and the Directors Festival arc has come to an end. Now, with Hilda's arc coming full circle, we turn to Silent, who has recently been given an invitation to the Master Evaluation. However, the Master Evaluation doesn't start for another 2 weeks, and to be honest, they have no idea how to pass the time. Dawn then states the trio can come stay with her, saying that she is meeting a friend of hers in Unova and is going to be staying with them for a week and a half. The trio then asks who it is, and Dawn points to a young woman approaching her. It's none other than Cynthia, the Sinnoh region champion. Ash is super stoked to see Cynthia, and the two catch up, while Silent and Hilda have to come to the realization that Ash is friends with a champion. Apparently, Dawn was invited to stay at Cynthia's vacation house in Undella Town, and now the invite has been extended to our trio. Ash decides this will be an awesome place to train for the Unova League. The trio, now excited to kick back and relax, head on a plane to Eastern Unova, this time landing in Undella Town. Now, before I am asked this in the comments, there will be no Operation Tempest or Junior Cup in this rewrite. Before you guys kill me, please just hear me out. First of all, I already did the initial Team Rocket arc with Operation Sun earlier in the series, and Operation Tempest was a result of Team Rocket versus Team Plasma being cancelled, with a lot of the resources going into that being reused for Operation Tempest, which is the inspiration for Operation Sun, obviously referring to the Team Rocket versus Team Plasma arc. Second of all, we are getting super close to the face-off against N and Team Plasma, and I feel like I really shouldn't add in another villain arc or a tournament arc to take away the attention from that. Anyway, our group lands in Undella Town, and they are admiring the scenery as well as some of the non-native Unova Pokemon that reside here too. The group then arrives at the vacation house and spends the next week relaxing, training, having fun, and enjoying the tropical setting of Undella. However, during this time, Ash requests Cynthia to have a battle with him, saying that she is someone that can help him train for the Unova League, and that he wants to test his skills as a Pokemon trainer. This is mainly to prepare himself against his rivals, but to also make sure he has a strong enough resolve to take down N. Cynthia accepts the challenge and their 3-on-3 Pokemon battle begins. Cynthia immediately sends out her Garchomp, who makes the rest of the group look in awe. Ash wastes no time and sends in Pikachu. Pikachu and Ash use everything they've learned on their journey so far. However, no matter what happens, Garchomp just doesn't seem to be even flinching. It's now Garchomp's turn to go on the offensive, and it wastes no time. It barrages Pikachu with attack after attack after attack. Pikachu can't handle the brute force of Garchomp and goes down, with Garchomp still standing strong. This shocks the rest of the group. Ash's strongest Pokemon went down and his opponent doesn't even have a scratch on him. Next up, Ash calls upon Duat, and things don't go well for him either. Despite him and Ash now having perfect teamwork, Garchomp's overwhelming power makes quick work of Duat as well. The final Pokemon of Ash's is Krokorok, who comes in with a vengeance for his fallen comrades. Krokorok goes in for the offensive, but things are exactly the same as the last two battles. Krokorok is getting destroyed by Garchomp and can barely stand. However, Krokorok isn't done yet, and in a moment of determination evolves into Crocodile. Crocodile isn't able to go all out against Garchomp and actually puts in some damage. However, you can only go so far against a renowned champion, and Crocodile goes down, with Garchomp definitely being tired. Ash then thanks Cynthia for the battle and tells her he will try his hardest in the Unova League. The rest of the time in Undella goes by, and the trio say farewell to Dawn, who heads back to Sinnoh, as well as Cynthia, who decides to head back to Sinnoh as well. The trio then set their sights on the Master Evaluation, which is being held at the Village Bridge. The trio has now arrived at Village Bridge after a couple days of walking. This is the home of the Master Evaluation, where the top 5 connoisseurs that participated in the Evaluathons will duke it out in one final battle. This is where Silent reunites with his rivals Burgundy and Baron, who have both qualified for the Master Evaluation. 2 other connoisseurs are also there, a man in about his 20s and a younger girl. The Master Evaluation will be split into 2 sections, the Evaluation and Battle section. The first section is pretty self-explanatory. The connoisseurs will display their bond with their Pokemon, and the other connoisseurs will have to evaluate the bond between trainer and Pokemon, and only one person will be dropped off due to the judges. Then we have the battle rounds. These will be 3-on-3 battles, and while battling, the 2 connoisseurs will have to evaluate the other opponent's Pokemon while battling. The first round begins, and our 3 connoisseurs all make it to the battling round, with the younger girl being the only one to be eliminated. The battles are then decided, and Silent will be taking on Burgundy in the top 4. The battle begins, and Burgundy tells Silent she will finally surpass him. Silent just smiles and tells her that she's really come a long way. She's a much different girl than the one who left his gym in defeat. She brought herself back up, and now Silent sees her as an equal, which is why he declares he won't hold back. Silent calls out Pansage, and Burgundy calls out Electros. The 2 go head to head, but remember, Silent is a gym leader, and along with his evaluations, take out Electros. Next up is Simipour. Even though Pansage has the type advantage, Burgundy's resolve to win has not withered, and Silent's ace goes down. Next up is Stunfisk. Silent takes inspiration from Ash and uses a unique strategy to take Burgundy's Simipour down. Finally, Burgundy sends in her ace Pokemon, Saucebuck, who is then able to get the upper hand against Silent Stunfisk, taking it down. Silent then sends in his final Pokemon, Crustle. The Pokemon go head to head, but Silent has gotten this far and won't give up now. He tells Crustle that together they make the perfect recipe for victory. Silent and Crustle then work together using all of their power to take down Saucebuck. Burgundy has been defeated and is quite upset, but Silent comes over to her and shakes her hand, telling her that she tried her best and that he's really proud of her. Burgundy starts to tear up as she shakes Silent's hand, telling him to just wait and that she'll catch up to him soon. The finals is now here, Silent versus Baron. Baron tells Silent even him being here shows just how weak the connoisseur business is these days, that this is a disgrace to the legacy his family has established. Silent tells Baron that he is living off the success of another, that he isn't doing this because of himself, he's doing this because he has no other choice. Baron gets angry and tells Silent to shut up. The battle then begins, and the first Pokemon to come out are Amoonguss and Crustle, who go head to head in a battle of all-out power, with each one not giving up and giving up the other hand. Eventually the two knock each other out and making the match between them a draw. Next up is Stunfisk and Swoobat. Once again, Silent is taking a gamble here, and it doesn't end that well for him. Swoobat, while being weakened by Stunfisk's electric type attacks, is still ready to go and is able to take down Stunfisk due to Stunfisk having a weak type advantage against Swoobat, but also having a super effective one, so that's why it was a gamble, but the gamble just didn't work in the end. However, when Pansage comes out, Swoobat is extremely tired and weak, so Pansage is able to quickly take out Swoobat. Baron is furious and tells Silent this is unacceptable, that he must become a connoisseur, he has to. It has been in his family for generations. He calls out his ace Pokemon Lightbird and has clearly lost his cool. However, Silent's resolve is at its strongest, and it doesn't take long before Pansage delivers the final blow with a Solar Beam, making Silent the winner of the battle and the winner of the Master Evaluation. Hilda and Ash are ecstatic as they congratulate Silent from the stands. Meanwhile, Baron is in a state of distress. He doesn't know how he could have lost. Silent tells him it's because deep down he knows that Baron never wanted to become a connoisseur, that he was pressured into it due to the legacy of his family. Silent tells Baron the reason he lost was because he never wanted this. Baron realizes Silent is right and says from now on he will follow his own path. The Master Evaluation ends with Silent being crowned an S-Class Connoisseur. Now that both Hilda and Silent's goals have ended, only one thing remains: for Ash to face off against his rivals and N at the Unova League. Our trio is finally back in Castelia City, home of the Unova League Castelia Conference. Ash is beyond excited, but also extremely nervous. On one hand, he is ready to face off against all of his rivals in some ultimate battles, but he also has to face N. Zekrom is still asleep, and if the legendary dragon doesn't awaken soon, N's world of Pokemon liberation is guaranteed. However, Ash holds his head up high, determined to not only defeat N and Reshiram, but to also make it to the very top. When Ash goes to register, he runs into his rivals once again, being Hilbert, Trip, and Iris, who somehow was able to earn all 8 gym badges in time for the league. They also run into Charon and Bianca, who have come here to cheer on Ash and Hilbert. Ash also spots N in the distance and remembers this league won't just be fun and games. Perhaps all of Ash's journeys have led up to this moment, leading up to his confrontation against N. Anyway, the group makes their way to the hotel and gets situated. The group then meets up for a dinner which is being held by the head of the Pokemon League, Charles Goodshow, who welcomes all the participants of the league, telling them that this is the competition to crown the strongest trainer in the Unova region, and that he looks forward to all the battles that await him and wishes every single one of them the best of luck. The next day, the first round, the top 32 begins, and the battles are 3-on-3. Ash, Trip, Hilbert, and Iris are all able to advance to the next round after defeating their respective opponents. Next up, N will be facing off against Marlin, an ex-gym leader who decided to take on the Pokemon League. He is actually the fan favorite to win this league after performing so well during his gym challenge, only losing no more than a single Pokemon in every single gym battle. The battle begins and Marlin sends out his ace Pokemon, Mantine. However, even this competent trainer wasn't ready for what happens next. Reshiram! Reshiram emerges from the sky and flies into the stadium, shocking everyone. Ash then clenches his fists at the sight, as N and Reshiram take out all 3 of Marlin's Pokemon in one hit, advancing N to the top 16. The entire stadium is terrified as N makes his declaration of war, telling the trainers of the world that he rejects the oppression they force their Pokemon upon, that he will never allow these acts of enslavement and oppression to continue. He declares to everyone in the stadium that he will win this league and defeat the champion, and that once he does, he will make people in Pokemon separate forever. Ash then shouts at N, telling him that he will stop him, getting the attention of the entire stadium. and just smirks and tells Ash he looks forward to their confrontation. After this, the top 32 comes to an end, and we are moving on to the top 16, which are already 6-on-6 Pokemon battles. It's then revealed that Ash will be facing off against Trip in the next round, which excites both of the rivals. It seems the one who will finally battle Alder will be decided tomorrow. The next day, the top 16 is underway. Hilbert is able to defeat his opponents using only 4 Pokemon, and Iris is able to take out her opponent only using 5. And of course is able to take down a full team of 6 with just Reshiram. Now it's time for the final match of the top 16, Ash versus Trip. Trip tells Ash that it has been an honor being his rival, and that because of him, he has been able to learn a lot. However, even though Ash has a lot of experience under his belt, Trip declares that all of his research has brought him to this point, and he won't let it go to waste, telling Ash that he will come at him with everything he has. Ash responds saying he wouldn't have it any other way as the battle begins. Both of them start off with Unpheasant, who are ready to take each other on once again. They then fly into the sky with extreme speeds, using all that they have, not wanting either one to get the advantage. But neither are done. Despite being weakened, they are both determined. Both of them scream with all they have as they charge at each other one last time. In the end, both knock each other out. Next up is Vanillux and Darmanitan. This battle goes quite smoothly for Ash due to Darmanitan having a lot more of an aggressive battling style and having its type advantage. Both of these factors is what allows Darmanitan to take out Vanillux. However, things don't go as smooth when Trip sends out his third Pokemon, Jellicent. Jellicent is able to take out Darmanitan not only because of its type advantage, but also because Darmanitan was weakened due to its last battle. So Darmanitan is taken out. Next up is Servine, who uses Attract on the Jellicent, but it's to no avail as Trip's Jellicent is in fact a female. Trip takes this chance to deal damage to Servine, who is knocked back by a Scald, which also burns it in the process. However, Servine won't give up. She's too stubborn to go down so easily. A few attacks later, and Servine is successfully able to take down Jellicent. Trip then sends in his next Pokemon, being Chandelure. He is already able to make quick work of the weakened and burnt Servine due to the type advantage. Next up is Duat, who goes head-to-head with Chandelure. Despite the type advantage, Duat is having quite the hard time attacking the Chandelure due to its incredible speed. However, Ashton tells Duat to close its eyes and focus, telling Duat to use sound instead of sight. This strategy is what allows Duat to get the upper hand against Chandelure, knocking it out. Next up is Trip's Conkeldurr, who challenges Duat to a battle of the sword. Or, I guess Concrete in Conkeldurr's case. The two charge at each other like two knights fighting in a way, with Ash and Trip being their respective kings. However, the knight who has been fighting for a while does not stand a chance against a powerful knight who has just entered the fray. Duat is taken out by Conkeldurr and now are both down to 2 Pokemon left, talking about Ash and Trip. Next up is Crocodile, who is able to quickly take out the weakened Conkeldurr. Finally, Trip sends in his ace, Serperior. Crocodile tries using his brute force to take Serperior down, but due to Serperior's wrap, Crocodile can do nothing as it's squeezed to its knees. Ash calls for an attack, but it's no use as Serperior knocks out Crocodile with Dragon Tail, leaving Ash with only 1 Pokemon left, Pikachu, who is ready to battle. Ash and Pikachu charge headfirst at Trip and Serperior, who are ready for all of their attacks. However, Pikachu is able to dodge a majority of Serperior's attacks, but is then grabbed by Wrap. Pikachu is struggling to get out, and Ash thinks to himself this is not how it can end. He can't lose here. He can't afford to lose here. N is waiting for him, and he can't lose to him no matter what. He has to protect the ideals he has standed by for his whole life. Just then, Ash's backpack glows brighter than ever before as a surge of energy surrounds Pikachu. Pikachu then breaks free from the wrap as a storm surrounds the stadium. Pikachu has become its supercharged form once again, and he screams as loud as he can, with a roar being heard alongside the cry of Zekrom. Ash thinks to himself that Zekrom has not given up on him. This is just a little more needed to awaken him, that his ideals and Pikachu's ideals are strong enough to take on N. Ash and Pikachu then charge at Serperior with all they have, and Serperior, despite being as strong as it is, can't take all the power Pikachu is emitting. One Thunderbolt later, and Serperior goes down, making the winner of this battle, Ash. Zekrom's power then disappears as Pikachu falls to the ground. Ash catches his partner and walks over to Trip, who, while disappointed, tells Ash that this was the best battle he has ever had, and that Ash certainly didn't disappoint. He tells Ash that he is the one who is truly worthy to battle Alder. Ash says he should stick around and watch them battle once he wins the league. However, Trip declines, saying that he can't stick around here as he needs to get back to his training, saying that he can't let Ash get ahead of him for too long, and that he needs to bounce back from this. The two rivals shake hands as the crowd cheers. The top 16 comes to an end, and now the top 8 matchups are here, and it is revealed that Ash will be taking on Hilbert next in a full 6-on-6 Pokemon battle. Now it is the next day, and it is time for the top 8, where Ash will take on his rival, Hilbert. The top 8 goes smoothly, with both Iris and N advancing in the first 2 rounds. Ash and Hilbert face off in the third match of the top 8, and it's a full 6-on-6 Pokemon battle. The battle begins with Hilbert sending out Throw and Ash sending out Darmanitan. The battle starts off as one of fighting types, and neither Pokemon will give in to each other's will. The two battle for a decently long time, and the two eventually tire themselves out, but Throw, after using Bulk Up, just has enough energy to KO Darmanitan. Next up, Ash sends in Unpheasant, who makes quick work of Throw, who is severely weakened despite the boost from Bulk Up. Hilbert's second Pokemon is Galvantula, and just like what Unpheasant did previously to Throw, Galvantula takes Unpheasant out pretty quickly due to its type advantage. It is here Ashton starts to worry. Hilbert is exceptionally strong and talented. Does he really stand a chance at defeating him? No, he can't think like that. Ash's third Pokemon is Pikachu, who comes in to face off with Galvantula. The arena then becomes one of electricity as the two decide to have an all-out electric-type Pokemon battle. However, Pikachu, just like always, is able to pull through and give the win to Ash. Hilbert's third Pokemon is Caracosta, who despite putting in great effort, is taken out by Pikachu as well. Hilbert, after returning Caracosta, then gives Ash a demonic smile and starts to cackle, telling Ash he is truly amazing, but this is as far as he goes. He didn't come all this way just to be defeated here and now. He declares to Ash that if he wants to win, he's gonna have to push past all of his limits. Hilbert then sends in Emboar, who in a matter of seconds takes out Pikachu, who is extremely tired after taking out 2 of Hilbert's Pokemon. Ash then sends out Crocodile, who barrages Emboar with multiple attacks. Hilbert just smirks as he and Emboar fight Ash and Crocodile in perfect sync, and Emboar's overwhelming power eventually gets the best of Crocodile. Hilbert also calls back Emboar after this battle. Next up are Servine and Archeops, who go at each other just like they did at the Driftveil City battle tournament. However, unlike last time, Archeops is itching for its revenge. The two battle for a decently long time, each not giving the other the upper hand. However, in the end, Archeops takes down Servine, but not before being taken out itself. Things are getting a bit rough. Ash only has Duat, and Hilbert has 2 Mons, including his ace. But once again, there is no time for doubts. Next up are Duat and Braviary, and the Pokemon fight with all their might. However, Duat, wanting to fight its rival no matter what, takes down Braviary with sheer determination alone. Now it's down to only 2 Pokemon, Emboar and Duat. Ash tells Hilbert that today is the day they will finally meet him, that he and Duat worked harder than anyone to get where they are today, that they climbed so many hurdles and worked together, and that he wanted a fight where they could work together. Ash tells Hilbert and Emboar to come at him with all they got, because this time they aren't losing. Hilbert then gets fired up and tells Ash that he apologizes, but he'll be the one who is going home, and that he doesn't care if he has to fight that N guy. Ash is his main rival, and he refuses to let him beat him. Duat takes out his Scale Chops, and that's it. The battle's on. The two charge at each other with such speed. Although Emboar has the size, it's a lot slower compared to Duat, who is able to dodge a majority of his attacks. Ash and Duat are more in sync than they've ever been before, and Hilbert acknowledges this, but it doesn't distract him. He then commands Emboar to use Fire Pledge, and Ash commands Duat to use Water Pledge. The combination of the two attacks surrounds the entire stadium in steam. However, when the steam clears, Duat is glowing bright, and in a moment of determination unlike any before, evolves into Samurott, who roars with all his might. Ash tells Samurott that he is super proud of him and that it's time to finish this. Emboar goes in for an arm thrust and Samurott goes in for a razor shell. The two collide, and the one who is standing in the end is, of course, Samurott. Ash has done it. He's beaten Hilbert. He has finally bested him in Emboar. and him and Samurott did it together. Hilbert comes over to Ash and shakes his hand, saying that he hates to admit it, but he is truly the superior trainer. That him and Samurott have come a long way since they first battled him back on Route 3. He tells Ash to not let his guard down and that he'll be coming back for a rematch one day, which Ash gladly accepts. The top 8 ends and the top 4 matches are decided, and it looks like it's finally time. Ash is matched up against N and Reshiram. Looks like the battle of truths and ideals is finally here. The top 4 is upon us. Ash will be going up against N, who has dominated the competition so far with Reshiram and Reshiram alone. However, Zekrom still hasn't awakened, and Ash is starting to doubt his own abilities. He looks at Pikachu as he enters the arena and comes face to face with N. N tells Ash that he's slightly disappointed that Zekrom hasn't awakened yet, but it does not matter. He tells Ash that he's been waiting a long time for this, the battle of truths versus ideals, the battle to decide whether or not people and Pokemon will live together in the future. N tells Ash this is where both of their views will be challenged to their absolute limit. N then states that this is no place for the two of them to fight. He raises his hand and then the ground starts to shake a bit. Ashton screams at N, asking him what this is. N just laughs as he commands the Castle of Team Plasma to rise up and cover the Unova League. The ground then cracks open as a giant castle surrounds the Unova League. The league is in shambles and the audience is in a state of distress. N then hops on Reshiram and flies towards the castle, telling Ash he will await him in the throne room. Ash, in an angry state, starts making his way up the staircase to reach N at the castle, but is then stopped by an army of Team Plasma grunts and the 7 sages, who state that Ash has no business with their king, and they won't allow him to pass. Ash starts battling the grunts, getting backup from Hilda, Sharon, Bianca, Hilbert, Silent, and Iris. Meanwhile, Charles Goodshow and the league staff focus on evacuating the audience from the league. Despite being stronger, our group of heroes are struggling against Team Plasma. Their numbers are so great and it's overwhelming them. Hilda tells Ash that he needs to make his way to N and that they have this covered. Ash replies saying that he can't make it through without more help, and there's no way he can make it through this army. Then suddenly, an Excadrill appears out of nowhere and somehow starts knocking out some of the Team Plasma Grunt Pokemon. Ashton turns around to see none other than Clay with his Excadrill. Suddenly, all the gym leaders appear in the stadium. Chili, Cress, Lenora, Berg, Elesa, Clay, Skyla, Bryson, Drayden, they're all here. Then Alder appears, and beside him is none other than Unova's Elite Four. Alder tells Ash that he expected something like this may happen, so he informed the league to be here the same day as Ash's match against N, in case anything went south. Alder's apprentice Marshall then tells Ash they got this covered, and he can't waste any more time standing around here. Ash nods as he starts making his way up the staircase leading to N's castle. One of the 7 sages tells the league they will not make it through this, and they will not tolerate this. Drayden laughs, telling them they won't stop at nothing to ensure the kids' victory. The battle between our heroes and Team Plasma then truly begins. Who will come out on top? Ash finally makes it to N's castle, and the doors open on their own. Ash walks in to see a maid who welcomes Ash, calling him Master. She states that His Majesty is waiting for his arrival and to please follow her. Ash then walks with the maid, and the maid explains the story of N, how he only found friends in Pokemon, especially those hurt by humans. He, along with the 7 sages, founded Team Plasma to liberate Pokemon from people, to create a more peaceful and balanced world. As Ash listens, he looks around the castle, seeing many Team Plasma grunts bowing to him. The maid then stops at a door and states His Majesty will take things from here. Ash opens the door and finds none other than N sitting on his throne, with Reshiram at his side. N welcomes Ash with open arms, telling him the time has finally come. Ash orders N to call off his army, to which N declines. He states they are merely fighting for a cause they believe in, and that it's no different from Ash fighting him here. If you have something you believe in, you will fight for it. Nobody can deny your feelings, and no one can force you to stop fighting. Ashton states that people can get hurt, but N ignores him and commands Ash to send out his Pokemon, that he will waste no more time with useless talking. Ash is concerned. Zekrom isn't awake. What is he supposed to do? Ashton says to himself that if he doesn't do anything, Unova's people and Pokemon will be separated forever, that he can't let N win here, otherwise he will let a world that he is against be created. He has to show N that his ideals are stronger than his truth. Then, Ash's backpack rips as the Dark Stone comes out and starts to glow. N looks at Aw, telling Ash it's awake. The Dark Stone then starts spinning as it erupts into a burst of electric energy. And Zekrom awakens at last. He roars with a roar as loud as thunder and electricity surges across the castle. N laughs maniacally as he says, "Let the battle begin." Ash asks Zekrom for its help, and Zekrom complies. Ash versus N. Zekrom versus Reshiram. It's finally time. Ash gets on Zekrom's back, and Ash tells N it's time to finish this. The two dragons then both use Dragon Breath, and it causes the roof of the castle to explode. The two dragons, along with their masters, soar into the sky for the whole city to see. Reshiram activates Fusion Flare, and Zekrom activates Fusion Bolt, as they charge at one another over and over and over again, but neither getting the upper hand. N then uses Reshiram to attack Zekrom's leg, and Zekrom falters. N uses this opportunity to counterattack and starts constantly attacking Zekrom over and over again. Ash thinks to himself that this can't be the end. All of his friends, all of his mentors, every gym leader that has made him stronger, it has all led to this moment where he puts everything he cares about on the line, where he has to shine far brighter than he ever has been before, as bright as a lightning bolt. Ash screams to Zekrom to use Fusion Bolt, and the attack looks like a star, and everyone looks in awe as Zekrom charges headfirst at Reshiram. N calls for a counterattack, but Ash and Zekrom's ideals are one, and they won't give up. Eventually, Zekrom overpowers Reshiram, and he and N start to fall to the ground. Ash commands Zekrom to help them, and the two are able to help the two safely land in the throne room once again without being hurt. Ashton walks up to the defeated N and hands him his hand. He tells N that it's over. He has proven that people in Pokemon can love each other no matter what. He loves Reshiram. He loves all Pokemon. And that goes for most humans. Sure, there are some who are mean, but most love their Pokemon. He then tells N that while they were enemies, the battle is now over. He tells N that the battle was a lot of fun, and now they should be friends. N laughs as he accepts Ash's hand, telling him he has won fair and square. Ash then tells N he needs to tell his army to stand down, and N agrees to this, but before they can do anything, they see Ghetsis standing there. He then uses a device to put Reshiram and Zekrom to sleep. He scoffs at N, telling him he is a failure and has no right to share the name Harmonia with him. N then asks what he is doing here, and Ghetsis tells him to clean up where he left off. N then counters his father, telling him the battle is already won. He fought with everything he had, but still lost. Ghetsis then laughs and calls N a stupid child. The point of this battle was never about truths and ideals, that he used N to lure out the hero so that Zekrom and Reshiram would awaken. That Team Plasma was never about liberating Pokemon. It was all a sham. The true purpose of Team Plasma is to use the legendary dragon Pokemon to take over the Unova region, with Ghetsis as its emperor. N is in shock, but Ash tells Ghetsis he won't let him have his way. Ghetsis laughs at Ash, telling him he has no chance as he sends out his partner Pokemon Hydreigon. Ash sends out Pikachu and the two enter a battle. Pikachu is trying to hold his own against Hydreigon, but he is just too powerful. Ash then tells Pikachu it's time they take things to the next level. Ash then turns back his hat, and he and Pikachu go in for a full-on attack. Ghetsis tells him it's useless, that he will defeat him and claim Reshiram and Zekrom for himself. But Ash won't let up, and he and Pikachu are one. He tells Pikachu that this is all for Unova, and together they can do this. Ash calls out a Thunderbolt and hits the two dragons, which wakes them up, willing to fight by Ash's side. N then looks at Ash in awe, calling him the true hero of Unova. Ash then commands Reshiram to use Fusion Flare, Zekrom to use Fusion Bolt, and Pikachu to use Thunderbolt, which knocks out Ghetsis and Hydreigon. The battle is finally won, and N wastes no time and heads outside, telling his army to stop the attack. Team Plasma then surrenders as the international police arrive on the scene. N walks back to the throne room and tells Ash that ever since he met him, he had always been an enigma to him, because Pikachu said that he actually liked him. Up until that moment, N had never met a Pokemon that had liked their trainer. But the more he traveled, the more he saw people in Pokemon together, laughing, crying, eating, and playing together.
However, he felt like he still had to fight. But now, he's been proven wrong. Now he needs time to think about everything, but not before turning over to Ash. You have a dream, right? To be a Pokemon Master. Make that dream come true. And then hops on Reshiram, and Zekrom also gets up. Ash knows it's also time to say goodbye to him. And Reshiram and Zekrom then fly off into the distance, this making Ash the winner of his match against N, advancing him to the finals, and the Team Plasma arc has come to an end.
It has now been a couple of days, and the Unova League Stadium is somehow still standing. And it's time for the finals of the Unova League. Ash will be taking on a trainer who seemingly came out of nowhere, but who is quite powerful. Iris. Yes, the trainer that was inspired by Ash to enter the league is his final hurdle standing in the way between him and the Unova League Championship. Iris comes out with a brand new outfit, telling Ash this is the moment she has been waiting for. The two grin and the Unova League Finals begins. The first battle is between Ash's Darmanitan and Iris's Aggron. Aggron goes in for a full-on offensive attack, and so does Darmanitan. Darmanitan punches Aggron over and over and over again with an assault of attacks, but Aggron is able to defend itself using its shield. Eventually, Darmanitan tires itself out and is taken out by Aggron. Ash tells Iris that she has definitely grown stronger, but can only get so far. Next up is Samurott, who unleashes a tidal wave of attacks on Iris's Aggron. Aggron can't withstand the amount of water and is taken out. So next up, Iris sends in Lapras, who then turns the battlefield into a field of ice. Samurott is obviously having trouble standing, but then Ash gets an idea. Samurott takes out its scale chops and uses them as ice skates. The battle then continues on, and both Pokemon then knock each other out. Next up, the two send in Unpheasant and Hydreigon. The battle once again becomes a battle of aerial mobility. While Hydreigon certainly has the power, Unpheasant charges at the dragon Pokemon with immense speed. But speed can only get you so far, and Hydreigon takes out Unpheasant with receiving very little damage, as most of Unpheasant's efforts were dodging Hydreigon's attacks. Next up, Ash sends in Crocodile. Hydreigon charges in with immense power, but Crocodile grabs hold of the dragon-type Pokemon, withstanding the blow of its attacks. Crocodile then goes in for the offensive and is able to take out Hydreigon. However, Iris isn't done yet, as she sends in another powerful dragon-type Pokemon, Dragonite. Dragonite roars with passion as the dragon and Crocodile get into an intense battle. The two take each other on with such fierce force, and it causes the entire battlefield to rumble. The Pokemon then go in for one last attack, with Dragonite using Dragon Rush and Crocodile using the Stone Edge Blade strategy from the Iciris City Gym battle. When everything is said and over, Crocodile is the one to take the L. Ash then sends in Pikachu, who makes quick work of the severely weakened Dragonite. But Dragonite is able to deal some damage to Pikachu. Ash then substitutes Pikachu and sends in Servine against Iris's next Pokemon, Druddigon. Druddigon and Servine go at each other over and over again, with none of them giving in. However, one attack later and Druddigon is in a trance and goes down due to being distracted by Servine. Iris then sends in her last Pokemon, her ace Pokemon, the Pokemon that has been with her since the very beginning, Haxorus, who lets out a giant roar. The battle then becomes very one-sided. Despite Servine's best efforts, Haxorus is receiving barely any damage, and every time Haxorus attacks Servine, it's doing a hell of a lot of damage. Servine won't give up and is standing tall to the end, but finally it gets knocked out by Haxorus, unable to withstand any more of its power. It's down to Ash's last Pokemon, Pikachu. The battle begins and the entire stadium watches in awe as the two Pokemon go head to head. Pikachu uses every single strategy it knows against Haxorus, but Haxorus is still standing tall. The two trainers then smile at each other, telling each other how much fun this has been, and even after the crisis with Team Plasma, this has been a fantastic way to end such a climactic tournament arc in the Pokemon anime. But it's time to end this, right here, right now. Pikachu goes in for his iconic Thunderbolt, and Haxorus goes in for a Dragon Pulse. The two attacks collide. Which one will take over the other? The collision lasts for a little while, but eventually Dragon Pulse takes over Thunderbolt and directly hits Pikachu, which sadly knocks him out. Iris has become the winner of the Unova League. Ash goes over to Pikachu's side and decides that this time he won't cry, because that was the best battle he could have asked for, and he tells himself he guesses he'll just have to improve for next time. Iris comes over to Ash and shakes his hand and tells him that this was a great battle. Ash shakes her hand and tells Iris that she'd better make it all the way to the champion, because he made a promise to someone that he would beat Alder. If he can't do it, then it has to be her, the one who was able to best all of them and make it to the very top. Iris tells Ash she'll continue on the promise that Ash made, obviously referring to the promise Ash made to Trip. Ash looks up into the sky. Another league has come and gone. He's sadly lost again. But Ash isn't upset. In fact, he's more determined than ever to make it to the very top of the Pokemon world and become a Pokemon Master. It's been 2 months since the Unova League reached its initial conclusion, and in that time, Ash and the others have been helping the reconstruction efforts in Castelia City. The reconstruction is pretty much complete, and this is when Ash receives a call from none other than Cedric Juniper, who tells Ash he has something very urgent to discuss with him. Cedric tells Ash he's been researching around Wakanosa Town, and his discoveries potentially allude to a third dragon Pokemon, one that existed alongside Reshiram and Zekrom and has been lost to time for centuries. Cedric tells Ash that he thought he should let him know due to his connection to Zekrom and wants him to come and meet him in Wakanosa Town. With the group's goals all being complete, they decide it would probably be a good idea to head over to Wakanosa to learn more about this third Unova dragon. However, before they can head over to Wakanosa, the group is stopped by Cheren, who says he needs their help. Apparently, the Pokemon League Association approached Cheren after the battle with Team Plasma, complimenting his battling skills, and they actually offered Cheren a position as a gym leader in Aspertia City. He then tells them moving into a gym isn't exactly the easiest thing, and he needs a couple of extra hands to help set up. The group, excited for Cheren, gladly accept his request and head to Aspertia City before heading to Wakanosa. The group arrives in Aspertia City. Cheren tells them he's going to head over to the trainer school where his gym is being constructed and that they'll begin tomorrow. Until then, Cheren tells them to get settled in and go explore the city a bit, and if they need anything, just head over to the trainer school. The group then decides to explore the city, and during this time, Ash bumps into a young man whose name is Hugh, who recognizes Ash as the Unova League finalist and tells him he was super mad when Ash lost in the finals because he was rooting for him the entire time. Apparently, he's starting his Pokemon journey and is looking for a girl by the name of Bianca, who is going to be giving him his starter Pokemon. The group, obviously knowing Bianca, decides to help Hugh find her, and after exploring the city a bit, they finally find Bianca, who is wearing a brand new outfit. She tells the group she is now officially the assistant of Professor Juniper. After taking some time to think about it, Hugh decides to choose Oshawott after being inspired by Ash's Samurott. After receiving his Pokeballs and Pokedex, he approaches Ash and begs him to have a battle with him. It would be amazing if his first opponent could be someone like him, to quickly begin a Pokemon battle. Hugh uses his brand new Oshawott and Ash uses Pikachu. Hugh tells Ash to not hold back, that he and Oshawott are going to give it all they got. Hugh, being a new trainer, automatically goes in for the offensive, using attack after attack after attack on Pikachu, who easily tanks in all the attacks. Hugh, getting frustrated, continues to use more attacks on Pikachu, either being Water Gun or Tackle, but Pikachu either dodges these or tanks the attacks. Ash then decides it's time to end this, and one Thunderbolt later, Oshawott goes down. Hugh is obviously disappointed, but still thanks Ash for the battle, and that one day he will become as great of a trainer as him. Ash then tells Hugh he has a lot of potential, but he can't rely solely on offense to win a battle. With only brute force and no strategy, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose every single battle you're in. Ash tells Hugh to find a balanced team that complements one another, and then create different strategies based around those Pokemon. Hugh then thanks Ash for the advice and the battle, telling the group he's going to go train and then fight the new gym leader in town once the gym opens. The other three come up to Ash and tell him he's really become a Pokemon trainer people can look up to, and he's matured a lot too. Ash laughs in embarrassment, saying he just told Hugh what he would do, and hopefully it works for him. But he also hopes that he doesn't try to replicate his battling style, and instead find his own unique way to battle. Silent tells Ash he can't know that yet, but tells him he certainly put Hugh on the right path. The group then says farewell to Bianca, who tells the group she has more traveling around Unova to do for research purposes. The group then heads to their hotel for the night after an eventful day in Aspertia City.
A few days have passed, and the Aspersa City gym is now ready to be opened. Sharon walks out wearing his brand new gym attire, and the group tells him he looks really cool. Sharon thanks the trio, saying it was an honor to have met all of them on his journey, and that he will do his best in this next portion of his life. Hilda comes up to Sharon and tells him that even though he is no longer a director, he will always be her rival, and that she is going to get stronger and stronger. She states that once she does, she is going to come back here for another battle against Sharon. Sharon smirks, telling Hilda he will await her return and their inevitable battle between one another. Ash starts to mope due to the fact that he can't take on Sharon's gym, which causes the group to laugh, and then Silence states that it's about time they get going, because it's a long way to Burbank City, which is where they will be departing from, to Opalucid City. They're going to stop by Drayden's place and see if he knows anything about this third dragon Pokemon, and then make their way to Wakanosa from there. The group agrees and bids Sharon farewell, but then all of a sudden, the group wonders what the explosion was, and then a bunch of Aspersa City Trainer School students run up to Sharon, telling him the school is under attack. Then a group of people wearing black walk into the stadium, and Ash knows them all too well. It's Team Plasma, but this time something is different. The group wonders what Team Plasma is doing here, to which they say they are done with the pathetic message they once spread. This new Team Plasma only has a single goal, and that's to take over all of Unova using the power of Pokemon. The leader of the group commands the others to start gathering the Pokemon in the trainer school, to which the other grunts comply. Ash and the others won't let Team Plasma get away with this and initiate a battle with this new Team Plasma. They are strong, but after everything they've been through, our group is stronger and is able to take out most of Team Plasma's Pokemon. The leader of the group is shocked, but then he recognizes Ash and starts to laugh. He says it would be his honor to destroy the one who took down their wonderful leader, Getsis. He then calls out a Houndoom, which he caught in Eastern Unova. Ash sends in his Pikachu, and the battle is a fierce one, but Pikachu is faster, and with this advantage, is able to land multiple hits on Houndoom, taking it out. With all their Pokemon defeated, the leader issues a retreat, and the new Team Plasma retreats. The group then wonders, why is Team Plasma back? What is their goal? And more importantly, who is their leader? We then skip to a scene on seemingly a ship. A scientist is sitting in his chair. He then wonders what the true potential of Pokemon really is, and how much strength he can pull out of a single Pokemon. He then smirks as he states that Kyurem will be his greatest masterpiece, the next step in his research. This is when we are introduced to Chorus, a scientist who works for Team Plasma. He is also the leader of this new Team Plasma. Chorus then pulls out a notebook from his desk, and it's then revealed to be personal notes from Getsis. The notes state that he will use the power of Reshiram and Zekrom to take over all of Unova. However, if this does not work, there is one other hope. He then talks about Kyurem, the ancient third dragon of Unova, and that using a machine simply known as the DNA Splicers, a dragon more powerful than Reshiram and Zekrom combined will be born. Chorus then starts to laugh maniacally, stating that Getsis' sacrifice was not in vain, and that it was all for science. That he will continue where Getsis left off. He will take over all of Unova with the icy power of Kyurem, and he will do it all with science. It's now back to our group, who is currently on their way to Burbank City once again. Like I said, they'll be taking a plane to Opalucid to see if Drayden knows anything about this mysterious third dragon. However, on their way, they then stop on trail when a mysterious Pokemon comes out of the bushes. It seems to be some sort of goat, and definitely looks like a grass type. Ash takes out his Pokedex to identify it, but the Dex has no data on the species. A young woman then comes out of the bushes, running to the Pokemon's side. She starts yelling at it, telling it not to run off again. She then turns to the group and says sorry if her Go-Goat caused any problems. Ash then wonders what a Go-Goat is, and Hilda and Silent don't know anything about the Pokemon either. The girl then introduces herself as Alexa and then throws a Pokeball out and introduces her partner Pokemon, Helioptile. She states that she and her Pokemon are from the Kalos region. Ash and the others have never heard of this Kalos region before or its Pokemon, but Alexa tells them all about it. She then tells them she is actually a Pokemon journalist and travels all around the world to report and write about Pokemon. She is currently in Unova to research Unovan Pokemon, which our trio finds to be really cool. Alexa then asks the trio what they're doing all the way out here, and they tell her about the ruins in Wakanosa Town. Alexa is intrigued and requests if she could travel with the group to Lakanosa Town so she can report about this third legendary dragon Pokemon. The group gladly accepts her request, and now Alexa from the Kalos region has joined our trio. Next up, the group arrives in a small town where they are hosting a Kanto region themed festival. Hilda and Silent are in awe as they see what Kanto culture is like. Meanwhile, Alexa is taking screenshots for a potential report. Meanwhile, Ash is enjoying himself and starts to reflect on his first ever Pokemon journey, and how it was his first step to becoming a Pokemon trainer. The group then goes to a presentation hosted by Professor Oak, who virtually explains the 3 Kanto starter Pokemon and displays them live on stage, which causes Ash to reminisce even more. Things then play out similar to the original episode. A Charmander gets hurt and is sent to the Pokemon Center, and the group worries about it, and luckily things work out for the Charmander. Ash then explains his story about his Charmander, or rather his Charizard, how they met, how they grew together, and how together they've taken on the greatest of opponents. After telling the group their story of Charizard, Ash decides he wants to bring Charizard back and quickly rings up Professor Oak. Ash then swaps out Unpheasant for Charizard, who came from the Char-Civic Valley, and Charizard is back on Ash's team. However, things aren't all swell. Ash's Darmanitan comes out of its Pokeball, wanting to face the other Fire type. The two then spar, and Darmanitan, despite its strength, stands no chance against Charizard, who has had years of experience in battling legendary Pokemon even, and a lot of strong foes. Charizard ends the battle with his iconic seismic toss, and Darmanitan goes down. Ash then returns Darmanitan and tells Charizard that they need to get stronger together. Charizard then fist bumps Ash and uses his flamethrower attack on Ash once again, reminiscing from the old series, as trainer and Pokemon are reunited. Our group now stops in the small town of Flockacy, where they run into none other than Alder, which makes Alexa quite shocked, learning that the group is friends with the Unova champion. Ash asks if Iris has come to challenge Alder yet, to which Alder states she hasn't and is still training for their battle. After explaining their situation, Ash then tells Alder they are heading to Verbank City to head off to Opelucid to speak with Drayden, to learn anything about this third dragon Cedric told them about. Alder wishes them the best of luck, but before they can leave, a loud scream is heard and a young man approaches the group. He looks straight into Ash's eyes and demands a battle. Alder then chuckles and introduces the man as his grandson Benga. Benga states that as soon as he saw Ash in the league, he knew he had to battle him. After all, the future champion of Unova should strive to fight as many strong opponents as possible. Ash accepts the challenge and the 2-on-2 battle is on, and Ash tells Benga he won't hold back. Benga starts off the battle with his Gabite, and Ash sends out Servine. The battle is a fierce one. Benga and Gabite are newbies like Hugh and Oshawott. You can tell they've been training for a pretty long time, however, they cannot possibly match the skill of Ash and Servine. Next up, Benga sends in Larvesta, who was able to take down the weakened Servine after putting up a reasonable amount of effort. Ash has enough playing around and sends in Charizard. Alder and Benga are both impressed with Ash's newest team edition. Technically old edition, but they've never met Charizard before, so just go along with it. Just go along with it, please. Please, go along with it. Anyway, Charizard makes quick work of Larvesta, not even taking a sweat. Benga is shocked by the immense power of Charizard, and so is Alder. Benga then comes up to Ash and tells him that although he lost, he will continue to train and make it to the top like it is destined to be. Ash tells him to continue with that dream, and it will come true one day. At least, that's the philosophy he lives with. Benga tells him he will keep on believing and that one day he will become the champion. Alexa then compliments Ash's battling skills, saying that he is super strong. Ash thanks her as they continue to Verbank City. Our group then reaches Verbank City once again and is about to head out to Opelucid, when the group once again runs into Hugh, who reveals to have beaten Sharon and earned his first gym badge. It's then revealed that Hugh will be taking on the gym leader here in Verbank City, and begs Ash to come and watch him, because he wants to show him just how much stronger he has become. Ash sees no reason not to, and the group decides to watch Hugh face off against the Verbank City gym leader. They are then introduced to the Verbank City gym leader, Roxy, a punk star, rock superstar, and a famous musician. Their band has traveled all around the world and brought many smiles to people and Pokemon alike. After seeing the resolve in Hugh's eyes, Roxy agrees to battle him in a 2-on-2 Pokemon battle. Roxy starts off with her Coughing, and Hugh brings out his newest addition, Riolu. Riolu and Coughing go at each other over and over again, with neither Pokemon giving in. However, Hugh is still a novice, so Coughing is able to get the upper hand against Riolu.
Hugh then sends in Oshawott. Oshawott and Hugh have certainly grown since the last time we saw them in Aspertia City, and take down Roxy's coughing. Roxy then sends in her ace Pokemon, Whirlipede. Whirlipede uses its speed to knock Oshawott back and forth, and the group is starting to worry about Hugh. However, Hugh still has a confident smile and turns to Ash, telling him to watch this. This is his battling style. Oshawott and Hugh then go super aggressive and use brute force to stop Whirlipede in their tracks. Oshawott and Hugh have found their battling style, and this in turn is what allows Oshawott to take down Roxy's Whirlipede. Roxy then gives Hugh the Toxic Badge, and Hugh is absolutely thrilled. Ash comes over and fist bumps Hugh, telling him he's gotten so strong. Hugh thanks him and states he's now going to head over to Castilia. Now that he has found his battling style, he states he's now ready to officially start his Pokemon journey. The group then says farewell to Hugh for good as he sets off for Castilia. The next up on the list is Opelucid. Time to learn even more about this third Unova dragon. Our group arrives once again in Opelucid City, home to the Dragon Master Drayden, who hopefully knows something about the third dragon Cedric alluded to. After receiving the information they need, the group plans to meet Cedric in Locanosa Town to investigate this dragon Pokemon further. Drayden welcomes the trio back with open arms, especially Ash. Drayden tells him he is very proud of him, as he was the first one in generations to pull out the full power of Zekrom. Because of him, the people and Pokemon of Unova have a future together, and it's all because of Ash. Ash then asks if Iris is here, to which Drayden responds no. Iris is actually taking on the Elite Four today as the group speaks to him and will potentially be crowned the Unova League champion if she succeeds. The group cheers Iris on in spirit as she enters the league, but back on the matter of hand. The group explains their situation about the third dragon, about the meetup with Cedric in Locanosa Town, and about the return of Team Plasma, and whether or not their return has a connection to this third dragon Pokemon. Drayden digests this information for a second and then tells the group to follow him upstairs. It is here where Drayden pulls out an ancient stone tablet from his drawer. It depicts 3 dragon Pokemon. 2 of them are easily made out to be Reshiram and Zekrom, but the third one is unfamiliar to the group. Drayden tells them that he comes from a long line of dragon masters. In fact, he is the ancestor of the ancient Unovans, who were one with the dragon Pokemon. That this sacred legend has been kept secret by his family for generations. Drayden once again explains the tale of Unova, about how Reshiram and Zekrom used to be a single Pokemon, but due to a war between the Princes of Truth and Ideals, the Pokemon split into 2, leading to a great battle, which caused the creation of the Light and Darkstone. However, unknown to most is that the dragon Pokemon actually survived. Although Reshiram and Zekrom split off from the dragon, a shell of what once was remained. The group is shocked by this revelation. The group then asks Drayden if he knows its name, which he reveals to be Kyurem, the Pokemon with a heart as cold as ice and the one who has the power to freeze all of Unova. Ashton concludes that Kyurem must be what Team Plasma's after. They must hope to unleash Kyurem's power and freeze all of Unova, forcing both people and Pokemon under their control. Drayden then states that if what Ash is saying is true, they will need a specific device. Drayden pulls out a relic, which he explains to be as old as the Dragon Spiral Tower and the Age of Truths and Ideals. It's a relic that has been passed down by his family, known as the DNA Splicers. Drayden doesn't know what precisely this relic is capable of, besides that it holds the potential to make Kyurem stronger than it is now. If Team Plasma truly wishes to reawaken the destructive power once owned by the original dragon, they will need the DNA Splicers. The entire house then shakes, and the group runs outside to see none other than a frozen Opelucid City and a pirate ship in the sky. Neo Team Plasma grunts then drops to the surface and starts to surround the group and Drayden. This group is led by one of the 7 sages, Zinzalin, who reveals to the heroes that Ash's speculation was indeed correct. Neo Team Plasma plans to use Kyurem's true power to take over all of Unova and already has the Pokemon in their possession. Team Plasma's goal is to finish off where Getsis left off. Drayden then asks how they even know about the existence of Kyurem, which Zinzalin laughs at, telling Drayden his family isn't the only one that has passed on stories of Kyurem. Getsis is also an ancestor from those who lived in the era of truths and ideals, and also knows just as much as Drayden. This shocks Drayden as he didn't think anyone else besides him knew about the secrets of Kyurem. Ashen yells at Team Plasma, telling Zinzalin that they lost, so what makes this time different? Zinzalin laughs, telling Ash this time they don't need to have a facade to manipulate someone like N, and now all they need to use is brute force. Zinzalin orders the group to seize them, and Ash and the others hold off the grunts, telling Drayden to run off with the DNA Splicers. Drayden runs to Opaloosid City while Ash and the others take on the Neoplasma Grunts. Eventually, Drayden is stopped by Zinzalin, who sends out his Weavile and Cryogonal. Drayden sends out his Haxorus, which makes Zinzalin believe Drayden has lost all hope. There is no way his dragon can take out both of his Ice-type Pokemon. That's when Drayden tells him he's wrong. His determination and will to win has never let him down, and I doubt it will let him fail now. Drayden enters a battle against Zinzalin's Pokemon, and to Zinzalin's surprise, Haxorus is on equal ground. It's not because of strategy, it's solely brute force. Eventually though, Drayden and Haxorus start tiring out and lose the upper hand. Drayden collapses because of the freezing cold, and Zinzalin laughs as he searches for the DNA splicers, only to find nothing. Zinzalin is absolutely furious and demands Drayden to tell him where the DNA splicers are. Drayden chuckles, telling him the kid is probably long gone by now. That's right, Ash expected an attack from Team Plasma, and he and Drayden pretended that Drayden was the one with the splicers, when in reality, Ash had it the entire time. We then go back to Ash and the group, who are on the outskirts of Opaloosid City. The group asks Ash why they aren't going back to help Drayden when he has the DNA splicers. Ash smirks as he pulls out the DNA splicers from his bag. The group is shocked, and Ash explains the plan he and Drayden made. The group is relieved because Team Plasma's goal can't come to fruition as long as they have the DNA splicers. All of a sudden, the splicers disappear from Ash's hands, and it's revealed that Team Plasma's Shadow Triad has snatched them. Ash asks the group who they are, and they say they are nothing more than shadows, watching for the perfect time to strike. Before Ash can battle them, the group of three disappear, before telling Ash that Lord N was a fool, a pacifist of sorts that only brought down Team Plasma's power. Now Team Plasma can finally reach its true potential, and they will accomplish it all with brute force. The Plasma ship then leaves, setting a course for Awakens. Ash and the others decide to follow it, getting ready for their final confrontation with Plasma once and for all. We then enter Colress's lab once again, who is admiring Kyurem, who is locked up in a cage, saying things such as so powerful and magnificent to the Pokemon. The Shadow Triad then arrive and hands Colress the DNA splicers. Colress laughs maniacally. Finally, he will be able to see the true potential of Pokemon. Colress then asks the Triad if they genuinely think their king will show up, and the trio nods, saying this is something he can't avoid. The scene ends with the Plasma Frigate over a forest, heading towards Awakens town once again. However, a particular person is also following the ship, and they so happen to have Reshiram by their side. After running as fast as they could, our group has finally made it to Awakens town, surrounded by ice. The giant chasm right next to the town is emitting a ton of energy, creating a blizzard which is spread throughout the whole Unova region, and has frozen portions of it as well. Neoplasma has taken over the entire town, and the group sneaks around trying to stay out of the eyes of Team Plasma. Eventually, the group encounters Cedric Juniper and his research team, who has been hiding out in Awakens since it was taken over by Neoplasma. One day, Team Plasma just showed up and awoke Kyurem, while also placing the town under their control. Cedric tells them that Team Plasma plans to use Kyurem to freeze all of Unova, and will use the power of the third dragon to strike fear into the hearts of everyone in the region. The group and Cedric's team decide to work together to take down Plasma. The team then makes their way through Awakens without being caught, and it leads an all-out assault against Team Plasma at the giant chasm to reach Kyurem and free it from Team Plasma's control. The research team starts to battle the grunts as they tell the group to head and keep moving forward. However, there are so many Team Plasma grunts, and as the team moves closer and closer to Kyurem, our team of heroes gets smaller and smaller. Eventually, the group reaches the entrance to the inside of the giant chasm, with the team being reduced to just Ash, Hilda, Alexa, and Silent. They then encounter the Shadow Triad in Zinzalin. Zinzalin tells them it's too late, that as soon as their final piece of the puzzle comes into their possession, they will finally freeze over all of Unova. There is nothing that Ash, the hero of ideals, can do to stop their conquest now. Zinzalin and the Shadow Triad go on the offensive as they attack our group of heroes. Hilda, Silent, and Alexa take on the Shadow Triad, while Ash comes face to face with Zinzalin. Zinzalin cackles as he tells Ash to give up, that he is merely wasting everyone's time trying to stop them, that Unova will enter a state of constant fear under the banner of Team Plasma, the world that gets us envisioned. Ash grunts as he tells Zinzalin he refuses to let that image come true, that as long as they continue to persist, he will be there to stop them, over and over again. Zinzlin just smirks as he sends in an army of Ice-type Pokemon, one that Ash can't possibly handle on his own. Then, all of a sudden, a Dragonite comes flying down and hits the Ice types with a Dragon Rush. It's Iris, who tells Zinzlin that as the champion of Unova, she must protect her region. That's right, Iris has finally surpassed Alder, and has become the champion of Unova. Some other Pokemon attack Zinzlin's army, and Team Rocket comes out of the shadows, telling Zinzlin that if anyone is going to take over the world, it will be them, not some Team Rocket knockoffs. Iris and Team Rocket tell Ash to go, although for many different reasons, but Ash is grateful anyway, for their help as he finally enters the inside of the giant chasm. Ash enters the giant chasm, which has been entirely frozen over. He then comes face to face with Colress and Kyurem. Colress tells Ash that he expected him to be here, that his calculations predicted this. Ash asks Colress why he is doing this, why he's continuing what gets us started. Colress tells Ash he honestly has no interest in ruling the region. He simply wants to continue his research of bringing out the true power of Pokemon, and that becoming the leader of Team Plasma is what allowed his research to reach the next stage. However, he seemed to have missed some important factors, and then commands Kyurem to attack Ash. Ash sends out Pikachu. Pikachu and the legendary dragon enter a battle. Despite how strong Pikachu is, he's losing pretty badly. Kyurem is beyond powerful and is able to overpower the electric mouse Pokemon pretty easily. Pikachu is sent flying back into the cave, and Ash runs over to catch him. He then sees Kyurem charging up an Ice Beam, directed straight at Ash and Pikachu. Ash closes his eyes, accepting his defeat when all of a sudden, Reshiram! Fusion Flare! A beam of fire comes, striking Kyurem right where he stands, knocking him off balance. It's N and Reshiram who help Ash and Pikachu get back up. N tells Ash he found out about Team Plasma's resurfacing and that he couldn't just stand by and let his sins continue to terrorize Unova. Ash smirks as he and N stare down Colress, who cackles, saying the final piece of the puzzle is here as he takes out the DNA splicers. The device activates and it attaches itself to Kyurem, aiming right at Reshiram. N tells Reshiram to get away, but it's to no avail as Reshiram is caught by the splicers and returns to the Lightstone. Kyurem then absorbs the power of Reshiram as Ash and N look in horror. Kyurem transforms and finally becomes White Kyurem. Colress laughs louder than before, saying this is the culmination of all of his research. This is a Pokemon that neither the hero of ideals nor the freak without a human heart can defeat. Then, White Kyurem unleashes a powerful attack that pushes N and Ash back. Ash then fights Kyurem with the rest of his team. They hold their ground as they fight the Dragon Pokemon, but they aren't powerful enough. Even together, they can only land a couple of hits each on White Kyurem before being knocked out. Eventually, Ash is down to a single Pokemon, Charizard. Charizard roars louder than thunder as it approaches the dragon. Unlike Ash's Unova team, Charizard holds his ground, not giving in to White Kyurem's attacks, and watches as he tries to call out to Reshiram, but it's to no use. Kyurem's rage has consumed Reshiram entirely, and Kyurem now has full control of the Pokemon of Truths. Eventually, Charizard falters and eventually faces the same fate as the rest of Ash's team. Ash starts to think that there's nothing he can do. No! Ash can't think like that. He's not done yet. Everything may seem hopeless, but there's one thing Ash is always going to have, no matter how low he goes. He's always going to have his ideals. Just then, lightning surrounds the cave as Zekrom once again appears for our heroes. Colress is shocked by this development and commands White Kyurem to attack Zekrom. Ash and N together command Zekrom against White Kyurem in the final battle of the series. One against two giant titans, both from the spawn of the original dragon. The battle is long and hard, with neither side wanting to give in and both wanting to achieve victory. Colress proves that his research has finally peaked, and Ash and N are using all their abilities to save Unova from its icy future. But eventually, Zekrom charges enough electricity and charges up its body fully. Together, hand in hand, Ash and N command Zekrom to use Fusion Bolt, and in a moment of determination, land a direct hit on White Kyurem, making it vulnerable. N then senses something. It's Reshiram's presence. Ash and N then nod as N approaches the opposing Pokemon as he closes his eyes. I can hear you, Reshiram.
I can hear you trying to break free. Please, you have to, for everyone's sake. Remember when we were so clueless? We thought that Pokemon and humans were better off separated. We started a conquest because I merely led a life of manipulation and solitude. But now, because of you and my friends, I know the truth. The one I have been seeking all this time. I know now that people and Pokemon are friends. You and I are friends. Ash and his Pokemon are friends. We, humans, belong with Pokemon. We work together in battles, research, art, music, and everyday life. We work as one, people and Pokemon. I was a fool not to realize it sooner, but I do now. That's why. That's why I need you to break free. Free yourself, and most importantly, free Kyurem from its shackles!
White Kyurem then starts to struggle as it is about to launch an attack at N in confusion, when it stops. Kyurem falls unconscious and Reshiram's stone returns to N. The storm stops and the icy winter has fallen. It's over. There is no more escape. Team Plasma is done, and this time for good. Chorus falls to the ground, destroyed that his research was not as good as the bond between people and Pokemon, and falls unconscious because of the shock. Ash and N look at each other and smile. They have once again achieved victory, and this time they did it together. N says he thinks this is where the two of them truly part ways, but he will always consider Ash to be his best of friends. Ash tells him no, that they will meet one day again and that once Reshiram is better, they need to have a battle. N laughs and tells Ash he is still much of an enigma as before. N looks at Zekrom and asks him if he could help him and Reshiram. Zekrom nods as N hops onto Zekrom, Lightstone in hand. Ash tells N to just wait, that their battle will truly be the best of all time, the true battle of truths versus ideals. The next time they meet, they need to finish off what they started at the Pokemon League, and that's a promise. N smirks as he waves goodbye, flying into the sky with Reshiram and Zekrom. Ash comes to face his friends, who all have smiles on their faces. It's finally over, and now it's time to look towards the future. About a week has passed. The international police arrested Neo Team Plasma, and Unova is recovering from the nasty blizzard that covered the whole region. Ash and the group have headed back to New Town to report to Professor Juniper. At the lab, Ash and the others meet up, and Ash tells them he's heading back to Pallet Town, that it's time for him to start over. This news saddens Silent and Hilda, but they obviously understand. They ask Ash when he is leaving, and Ash states tomorrow. Alexa then asks Ash if she can come along with him. She states she's always wanted to report on Professor Oak's lab. Ash says of course as the two make their plans to head out tomorrow. It's now the next day and the group is at the airport. Silent and Hilda tell Ash they are headed out to pursue their own goals after this. Hilda is going to go back to Pokestar Studios and start making incredible movies with her team. Silent states that he will travel around Unova and help bring people and Pokemon closer together with his evaluations. They tell him to continue his quest to be a Pokemon Master, and they know he can do it. Ash thanks them as the three of them hug each other and thank each other for being there on their journey, helping them in their time of need, and for just being the best friends anyone can ask for. The group hug ends as Ash and Alexa head on a plane for Viridian City in the Kanto region. Hilda and Silent watch the plane fly into the air, more determined than ever to continue their goals. Ash and Alexa have gotten off the plane and now head to Professor Oak's lab in Pallet Town. When Ash gets there, he reunites with his mom, Professor Oak, Tracy, and his old Pokemon, who are more than happy to see him. Alexa does her report on Oak's lab and Ash's Pokemon. Oak is also super excited to meet some Kalos Pokemon, such as Gogoat and Noivern. Ash then, under the sun, lies down and starts to think that his time in Unova was truly amazing, that he has grown so much as a Pokemon trainer. But he's not done yet. He still has many more journeys to embark on, so many more hurdles to overcome if he wants to become a Pokemon Master.
He then walks up to Alexa, asking if the Kalos region has a league of its own, to which Alexa tells him it does. This is when Ash decides that his next adventure will be in the Kalos region, that he will carry his ideals to a new region and hopefully they will help him reach greater heights. At dinner, Ash explains this to his mom, who, while disappointed Ash isn't staying longer, already knew this was going to happen and surprises him with some new clothes, telling Ash that he is indeed growing up so fast and she knows he'll become a Pokemon Master no matter how long it takes him to get there. The next day, Ash and Alexa hop on a plane for the Kalos region, where Ash will encounter new friends, Pokemon, and adventures. Next time, a new adventure begins. This is where the What If I Wrote Pokemon the Series Black and White series comes to its end. Thank you so much for watching.
It's always hard when the journey begins. Hard to find your way, hard to make amends. But there's nothing you can do, 'cause you got the power inside of you. It's never easy to make a choice, to keep things inside, unlace your voice. But for everyone there comes a time when the light inside begins to shine. It's not always right or wrong, as long as your spirit's strong. It's not always win or lose, it's a road to choose. The answer's within. It's not always black and white, but your heart always knows what's right. Let the journey begin. So many choices, how do we know? So many places, where do we go? What should I say? What should I do? Still we're together, me and you. It's not always right or wrong, as long as your spirit's strong. It's not always win or lose, it's a road to choose. The answer's within. It's not always black and white, but your heart always knows what's right. Let the journey begin, Pokemon. There's nothing you can't do, 'cause you've got the power inside of you. It's not always right or wrong, as long as your spirit's strong. It's not always win or lose, it's a road to choose. The answer's within. It's not always black and white, but your heart always knows what's right. Let the journey